Atiku Abubakar's fresh legal challenge against President Bola Tinubu ahead of 2027. Amnesty International's warning over alleged inflammatory political comments. Nigeria's Union security talks with the United States and European Union's confirmation that it will deploy election experts for the 2027 general elections. We'll also look at the Tinubu administration's infrastructure drive in the Southeast and the political message behind the government's major road and bridge projects. Well, stay with us as we unpack the issues, the claims, the counterclaims, and what they mean for Nigeria's democracy. Now, this is Voice of the People Television, VOP, and I am your host, Chukwuma Okoro. Many thanks for joining us. Let's bring in our guests. We have Mazi Amobi Heboro. He appears there in the capacity of a political affairs analyst, and beside him, we also have Prince Francis Chilaka, a political affairs analyst as well. Good evening, gentlemen, and good to have you join us on the program.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Happy Osun election.
What's the happiness there?
We are testing. We are testing.
When you see some men who you expect to have common sense, men who are supposed to be models for younger generation.
The prince. Hold your breath. Yeah, I know you are going to talk about the Osun elections. In the meantime, happy elections, because it's a test case for us. In 2024, we were told that Edo State will be a test case for 2027. And just 2 months ago, or less than that, we were told that Ekiti State will be the test case. And now our own president, Bola Tinubu, will be saying, well, INEC, looks like we are going to measure your preparedness with the Osun elections. But before we get into the major conversations, let's take a quick look at some of the interesting stories that kept Nigerians, talking during the week. And we'll go to the same Osun State, where Amnesty International says, that's the Nigerian branch, says it will use Senator Francis Fadahunsi as an example in its campaign against political incitement, potentially highlighting his case across the 150 countries where the organization operates. Country Director Isa Sanusi said Fadahunsi's alleged remarks calling for violence were serious and could amount to advocacy of hatred, although the senator has disputed the interpretation and claimed the circulating video may have been manipulated. Well, Fadahunsi is claiming that it's AI generated, but he also was questioned by the police and released, while Amnesty says the case would be used to challenge impunity among politicians ahead of elections. In all of this, Prince, let's have your reaction quickly.
When you
the Fadahunsi case.
No.
And the way it's been treated.
We can't treat his own case in isolation.
Okay, you want to lump it with other cases.
We want to treat a lot of cases, a lot of people that have been elected by the people, who are representing the people, the impunity with which they insult the Nigerian people, they insult the sensibility of Nigerians, it's something of worry. You heard the other time one honorable was telling an Uber driver, I will kill you, I will destroy you, I will waste you, nothing will happen. So our politicians, unfortunately, they are used to using languages that they shouldn't be using. They no longer see the people as having the power. They see themselves as the one who have the power, and they must decide what they want to do. So saying you want to use him as a scapegoat, that does not even talk only about using Fadahunsi as a scapegoat. We need to use other people as well. We need to begin to have groups like Amnesty International begin to, publicly shame politicians who steal from our resources.
That's exactly what they are saying. They say they want to start with this one, and they are going to spotlight it across the 150 countries where they operate.
Exactly, because you cannot tell me, an adult, that thing was AI generated. You cannot tell me that. So it's the impunity. It's the same behavior across board.
Prince, he said that he didn't literally mean kill them. He said kill them with votes. He said kill them with votes. Did you hear him say with votes?
Mr. Okoro, please, we are all educated. This is the same thing MC Olomo said in 2023. Have you forgotten? People lost their lives because of that utterance. Was he arrested? Even when the police invited him, he said he was playing with, is it Yangozi or whatever? No! People are already tired. People have been beating the low poverty lines. And so politicians must be careful the kind of words they put out there. Those who call themselves leaders. Those who are meant to be models. They should be careful the kind of words they put out there.
Yeah, agreeably so that he made that statement, that unfortunate statement in vernacular. But people have interpreted it as such. People who knows the language. He didn't make that statement in English language, where some of us can, but people who knows the language has explained to us what he meant. So saying that he wants to kill them with votes and all that is an afterthought as far as we are concerned. And I think that Amnesty International should now bite, not only back. Like they said, if they want to use it as a test case, because we are testing a whole lot of things. We are testing Edo. We are testing. We have tested Ekiti. We are now testing Osun. So let Amnesty International use this as a test case, because going to 2027 is just a harbinger of what is likely to come up in 2027. So if it is handled with levity and kid gloves, I think 2027 will be a child's, a child's play in terms of violence.
Now,
what is happening now?
What is
be a
happening
child's
now
play.
in terms of violence? Now, the bigger question should be, Amnesty International is doing for us what we are supposed to do for ourselves, what we are unable to do ourselves. Of what consequence will this be? I mean, if the spotlight is across 150 countries, what does that matter to the man himself? The consequence.
It is better for us. The end beneficiary
It's
of
us.
what Amnesty International is going to do is Nigerians. Because that will stem the tide of impunity.
Okay, it looks like other people will become more measured.
More measured in terms of what they say
But I'm
and what
talking
they do
about
not
the
say.
actual consequences.
Okay,
He's
right.
been invited
Okay.
by the police.
Yes.
He walked into the police station, whisked for 30 minutes. He stepped out.
Okay.
And he's a free man now.
Yeah,
So what
they were
consequence?
talking about rule of law. You
Okay.
don't need to detain somebody with more than 48 hours and all that. It is only when it affects certain grade of people that you begin to quote law. That you begin to see how an action has bearing on the law. When it affects some other people, there is jungle justice, as it were. So what we are saying is the fact that, despite the fact that he has been quizzed and released, efforts should be made. He can be charged to court. He can be charged to court with evidence available to the authorities. And then let him be in court.
Okay, all right. Prince, you wanted to react to
I said,
something
adding up
before
to
I
what
ask
he
my
said,
question. Okay.
we have two laws in Nigeria. I've always said it. We have the law that guides the rich and the mighty. We have the law that guides the poor and the downtrodden. Unfortunately, the only one that bites well is the one that guides the poor and the downtrodden. And it's very, very unfortunate. You heard people what a lady was saying on TV about what she was going to do in Osun State. You saw there was a video that has been trending of some people who came all the way from Edo State, threatening that how they are going to smoke out a serving governor. You come into the state
Without permission.
and you're telling the governor how you're going to smoke.
Are they supposed to get into it?
They're
supposed to get
because
permission.
the governor has started it. Unfortunately, the governor of Edo State started that you must enter my state with permission.
Yeah.
You know, there was still
If you're a
spreading.
high-profile, political exposed person.
So we need to be very careful. The country is at the edge.
the country is
We
at the
need to be
edge.
very careful. Look at we're talking about the senator, isn't it? What about the Islamic cleric
The Jingi, Sheikh Jingi.
that opened his mouth and told Christians,
That they are infidels.
I mean, look at that statement. And there are people who are supporting him, and they are Nigerians. What that man has said, what the likes of Gumi has been saying, what the likes of MC Oloma said, what the likes of Sunday Go has been saying, is it not close or more than what Nnamdi Kanu said? So why are we breaking this country? Why is it that our political class, our leaders, why are they trying to break this country?
Unfortunately,
Remember,
we don't see
Mr. Okoro, remember
consequences
that-
for this.
Religion is one of the fourth lines in this country. And religion management should be key. You can talk about ethnicity. People can understand. But in religion, Nigeria is supposed to be a secular state, as it were. And when some people play up the religious, cards, as it were, to begin to associate, abstract to themselves the power that they do not have, that portends danger. Because religious war are usually multifaceted. It's an octopus kind of thing. In a sense that you cannot. You see, once you tamper with somebody's religion, the person is like, we have, they will fight like a wounded lion.
Okay.
I think that is what is playing out here. And we
Unfortunately-
must resist.
Sorry, gentlemen. Unfortunately, we have a situation where people exploit those fault lines.
Absolutely.
For political gains.
Absolutely, that is what we're
And
saying.
the government looks the other way.
The other way.
Now, let's move on.
You have two
Before
governors.
you move on.
You have two governors there
sorry.
watching with keen interest.
Before we leave
while
this
the
conversation,
whole thing
I
is going
want
on.
us to be fair to all concerned. Now, this senator, the records that we see from on Osun State is that APC says 19 of our people have been killed. Our court says 30 of our people have been killed. And I want to go back to what the senator said. The senator said, they are killing my people. And so whenever you see them, kill them. Interpretively, if he acted under provocation, should he be held against
All
him?
that
These
is
people
being-
had been killed.
Sorry, all those
I'm
people
just
that have been
asking.
killed are Osun people.
Okay.
They're not Father Osun people. They're all Osun people.
No, the records are there, 3019.
What I'm
No,
saying,
they are all citizens
they are
of
all
the
citizens
state.
of Osun.
So,
So he
at
cannot come and tell you that,
that his people,
his people
at
have
what
been
point
killed.
did they become his people? Is it the
The
governor?
point
Of,
is that
talking about
Osun
his
people have been
supporters,
killed.
his supporters.
is it the governor of the state?
His
At
supporters.
what point is it now that he knows I have people? What has he done what has he done in Osun State? Since he's a senator.
I'm sure you're not his constituent. You don't
No. Because when people talk, we should probe them. We should question them.
Okay.
What has he done in Osun State? All the senators we have, how many of them have touched the lives of their constituents? The only time you see them make noise, the only time you see them talk in public is when the elections are drawing close.
The bottom line, however, is that the people of Osun have been changed in the scheme of things. We should not, Amnesty International, I repeat myself, Amnesty International should take up this to act as deterrent to some of our verbose politicians.
Okay,
who can say
unfortunately,
anything
Amnesty
and
International
everything.
is just an NGO and they can do the only thing that they can do. Let's
can
move
they
away
do?
from this conversation. Now, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, now the ADC presidential candidate, has filed a suit seeking to disqualify President Bola Tinubu from the 2027 presidential election over an alleged forged NYC discharge certificate, while Atiku is asking the Federal High Court to examine Tinubu's documents, relying on the constitutional provision that bars candidates who present forged certificates to INEC. The lawsuit has divided Nigerians, with some arguing that, well, the allegations should be properly tested in court, while others view the case as a political battle ahead of 2027. The article urged Nigerians not to determine the matter on social media, stressing that the judiciary should decide the allegations. The dispute revives issues previously raised during the 2023 presidential election, the litigation, when Atiku sought to introduce additional documents relating to Tinubu's credentials. At that time, the Supreme Court rejected the request on procedural and jurisdictional grounds and ultimately affirmed Tinubu's election. The new case also raises questions about how the 2026 Electoral Act restrictions on pre-election challenges interact with the constitutional provisions on forged certificates. Maz, I would like for you to react briefly to this. Look at this. This looks like old wounds that are coming afresh. Nigerians are saying, some Nigerians are saying, hey, enough of this. I mean, it's been done and dealt with. It's done and dusted. Some people are saying no. So where do you stand in all of this?
It cannot go away until it is properly
Why wouldn't it
addressed.
go away?
It can't go away.
He's the president.
There's no way it can go away.
These records were also
it cannot.
there.
Check, for instance, if you want to, apply for employment in any organization, you are asked to read out your CVs and all that, produce their certificate, and in the interview proper, you have to bring the originals for citing and what have you. This is just employment, not to talk about somebody that wants to superintend over the Nigerian PLC, as it were, the entire country. So it can't go away. It cannot go away very easily. I think the earlier we do away with this, the better for us. Because if we allow it, is it when the term, his second term, or assuming he wins the election, is it after that time that we'll now come to know the true story? There is need for us to know the true story. Of course, some people are picking holes with the suit in itself. Some people said the suit must come. I'm not a lawyer, but we need some lawyers to also address us. Some people said the suit is dead on arrival because Atiku came with originating summons, as it were, as opposed to writ of summons. That in writ of summons you need to bring witnesses to come and testify. If you said he doesn't have NYSC, there is need for the witnesses to come. the organization that dished out those documents should come and witness. So some people are even when the case has not started, beginning to pitch holes in in the suit that the court will throw it away because it is coming as an originating summons. We need some elucidation on this by the learned minds, as it were.
Okay, Prince, how do you react to this? I mean, this is 2026.
Yes.
The president has done this from 1992 when he became senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1998 when he became governor of Lagos State. In 2022, we passed through this. And so why are we coming
Mr.
back to
Koro,
it?
there are certain things you can wish away. This is one of the things you can't wish away.
The Electoral Act probably has wished it away.
I'm coming. As long as you are in the eyes of the public, as long as you're a public servant, the day you, Okoro, sitting here now, go back to your state to contest election, people will tell you the things you didn't know about yourself. And you see, these things, it is now something that the president himself, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, should bring to a conclusion. And how will he do that? Every issue that has been raised that is attacking his person and character, say, okay, NYS certificate, here it is.
No, it's not a problem. He has it. He has shown it.
Sokoro, I'm coming now. NYS certificate, here it is. It is original. Bam. School cert, here it is. It is original. Bam. Primary school certificate, yeah. So when you bring these things out and people now see that you have produced it yourself and you can authenticate that it's original, the matter will die a natural death.
Prince, let me ask you, you and Mazi too, both of you, have you ever heard that the president has the name like Adekunle? Because
I have never.
I hear that NYS certificate bears
Adekunle, yes, I have never. And that is
there are some other names, that
there are too many names.
Yakini and what have you and what have you. That is why, just like Prince said, there is need for Mr. President to
probably there should be supporting affidavits for change.
It's not even an issue
like
of
Ben Carlo, the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, I understand, has changed his name 7 times. But they also
why is he changing his name?
He has supporting affidavits.
Wait,
Please,
it is all it is the fraud. I have never changed my name.
But you can. You want to change your name.
Why
do
you change your name?
It's our liberty to do that.
No, why?
Why?
Because
7 times.
Seven times.
If you want to change your name, at least once, you can change your name, depending on the circumstances. Depending on the circumstances.
Are you not saying that?
I'm not.
His father dies. When the father dies,
I wouldn't know. But the law doesn't put a limit to the number of times you can change your name.
But once you see the frequency, you must begin to suspect that there is a problem.
Okay, so in all of this, people are saying that the Electoral Act says, well, article, you cannot even bring this case because you don't have a locus. You cannot determine, to tell the court where your interest has been injured in all of this. If you are not a presidential aspirant. Excuse me. You are not a presidential aspirant in the APC.
This is why.
And so you are not even a member of the APC. Okoro, according to the electoral, you cannot prove that your interest has been injured.
This is why the worst of us are ruling the best of us. And taking it a step further, P2B said it clearly. Nigeria has turned into a country where professors who are meant to build new generation of Nigerians are now the ones in the forefront of damaging the country because they're all in cahoot. It's unfortunate that, we keep having politicians who have questionable documents. It's either it is about their age, their name, or their qualifications. And this idea of saying that the minimum to contest presidency is school cert, it is shameful.
Very, very shameful.
It is so shameful. In a country where you have doctors, engineers, aeronauts, and all of that, it is shameful. Why are we dragging this country backwards? Why is it that we are using leadership to set this country backwards?
And you see,
a lot of children are asking, why should I even go to school? That's the question children and youths are asking. Why should I go to school? When all I need to do is primary attempted WAEC, I can go and contest for election.
See, let me just, an addendum here. If the Electoral Act, you see, that is the danger in having somebody in mind when we are making a law. You make laws that can stand the test of time.
You think they had
The,
someone
the,
in mind
the
when you
durability
came?
of the law should span for a long time. You know?
Okay.
Not looking at issues, circumstances, and all that. You need to make laws that can stand the test of time, as opposed to, tailoring your laws to suit a particular.
Well, we hear
person.
that laws are made for the people and not people for the law.
I agree with you. That's what I'm saying. Project the laws. Do it so that it can stand the test of time. This electoral act we are talking about, I know that by 2023, we'll come back to it. Because it was not properly done.
We may likely come back to it before the election.
Before the election. Because you need to tidy up few things again.
Let me ask both of you now. Assuming that the president, when he assumed office in 2023, and everything about Nigeria started looking up in form of probably the exchange rate came back to like 60 naira to $1, and probably interest rate, single digit inflation dropped probably to 6 or 4% and all of that. You walk into your apartment, you touch the wall, touch the switch, there's light. You open the water faucet, there's water, running. The streets are very well paved after 3 years, in office. Do you think that we will be discussing his NYS?
Unfortunately, the answer,
things
are not that way.
What if?
You don't assume.
Okay, so
if
things are not that way.
If you assume, you make an ass of you and me. So let us not assume here.
Okay, so
the issue is that things are not working.
Things are not working.
Yes.
So things are not working because somehow, without the authenticity of his NYC certificate.
Let's be very practical.
I think that's what we are doing here.
Let us be very practical. Look at Abia State, for instance. You don't need a soothsayer to tell you that Abia State is moving forward.
It's because they have a first-class economist.
No.
Yes, we have a first-class economist. As my governor.
We don't need a soothsayer to tell you that the man knows his onions.
Because he made a first class in economics.
Because
I'm asking now.
Because he knows his onions. That is why even Ojus Okalo, a diehard APC, has told you that there is no vacancy. Because the people have seen the way the man is working. It is your work that will make people draw close to you. Okay. It is your work that will make people vote for you.
So now, what defines your work? What defines your work?
Let me finish. If every governor in Nigeria today was towing the line of Peter Oti, and the government at the top is also following that direction, I am telling you, there will be no election in 2027.
Okay, probably off the air, I will tell you why Ojus Okalo made that comment that he made. I'm from Abia State, so I know the politics of Abia State. Let's move on.
He wants to come back as a senator.
He
already knows.
We know. Let's go to the southeast. Same southeast where Works Minister David Umahi said President Bola Tinubu has transformed Nigeria into a construction site and is addressing the southeast alleged marginalization through major infrastructure projects. Well, during an inspection of the Calabar, Eboyi, Benue, Nasarawa, Abuja Highway, Umahi highlighted ongoing road, bridge, and flyover projects and urged southeast residents to show their appreciation by giving Tinubu strong support in the 2027 election. He also assured affected property owners that the federal government will pay compensation, with the ministry reviewing an estimated 6 billion naira compensation bill for the Ukwachi area. Prince, the Works Minister says that the Southeast marginalization has been addressed by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu because he's constructing Benue, Nasarawa kind of federal highway. Does that amount to reducing the issue of marginalization?
No, well, it depends. It's all about our perception. It depends on what he understands as marginalization and what he understands as the solution. Each time you hear him mention of roads, and he talks about the Southeast, which roads has he mentioned in the Southeast? You keep telling us of Coastal Highway. Is it Badagry or Sokoto?
Badagry Sokoto Highway.
Abuja, this one.
But he just mentioned Calabar, Ebonyi, Benue, Nasarawa Federal Highway.
Mr. Okoro, when you say Southeast, Southeast is not Ebonyi.
But Ebonyi is part of Southeast.
Just one out of 5.
Okay.
So we want to know which are the major roads.
Enugu, Port Harcourt.
In fact, I think that Omahi, can just speak for himself.
It's not speaking for the Igbos.
I do not think Omahi has the Magna Carta to begin to speak on behalf of the Southeast. He's just a minister, and he's not the only minister that has come out of Southeast. For him to pontificate that, Tinubu has, turned Southeast into a construction zone.
No, he said Nigeria.
Nigeria, okay, into a construction. Therefore, people should. No, people have the other political leanings, other political cleavages that they will profess. So let Omahi stay on his lane. The last time I checked, Omahi has no authority to speak on behalf of the Southeast. And he should, jolly well do his job as a minister and leave the Southeast alone to make their decision.
The worrisome part of all of this is that when I speak to people from the North, when Dave Umahi speaks, Dave Umahi comes up with the impression that, the North itself is a construction site. I speak with people from the North, is that they say nothing, that bad roads, that there are a series of accidents happening on bad roads in the Northeast. I call about Northwest. Northwest people, they say, of course, you know that construction cannot go on here in the midst of insecurity because nobody wants to get kidnapped. I speak with people in the North Central and they tell me the same thing. You are saying the same thing about Southeast. People in the Southwest, when you talk about the Oshobo, people say the federal roads are decrepit and all of that. So where does Umahi get his own? Is it in the pages of?
Umahi got his own assertion from the fact that he was made a minister for works. He has severally talked about it, that if President Tinubu can make an Igbo man minister of work, then what else are we talking about?
He was made minister.
Works is part of one aspect of the ministry that they regard as, is it juicy or sensitive or whatever. So because
for reasons best known to them.
No
ministry should be juicier than
for
the
the
other.
fact that Umahi is the minister of work does not make does not vitiate the fact that the Southeast are still marginalized. Umahi as a person may not be marginalized.
Well, I think that he was made Minister of Works because he's a professor in practice of the Ministry of Work and all of that. Gentlemen, thank you very much. We'll go on a short break, and when we return, we'll get into our first major topic of discussion, which is the ongoing Osun elections. Please stay with us. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Big news this year. Your favorite Voice of the People television station is now on free to air on Nigecomsat. All you need to do is align your dish using the following: orbit position 40.5 degrees east, 12.685 gigahertz, 30,000 kilobytes per second. Polarized vertical. Frequency 2, 12.731 gigahertz. Symbol rate 26,250 kilobytes per second. Polarization H. This works on any decoder. Catch up to 100 channels, sports, movies, news, all for free. This is with better quality at no extra cost. VOP TV on Free TV. Now you have more than a voice.
Welcome back, and if you're just joining us, this is News Unpacked on Voice of the People's Television. Now, let's quickly run into the major conversation of today. The Osun governorship election took place today. It's underway today, August 15, 2026, with about 1.9 million voters having collected their PVCs. The contest is largely a three-way race, with the APC's candidate, Bola Oyebamiji, also known as Ambo, gaining support from a faction of the Accord and a faction of the PDP, led by former Governor Olagunsoye Oyilola. Meanwhile, Afrobeat star Davido, the nephew to the governor, alleged that soldiers were trying to prevent him from entering Osun ahead of the election. He made the claim on X, his social media handle, saying every Nigerian has a right to movement amid heightened security measures across the state. The authorities have imposed a movement restriction from midnight on August 14, that is 12 a.m., last night up until 6 p.m. on August 15th, this evening, to prevent violence and electoral disruption. Well, Davido's allegation has attracted attention, partly because he's a nephew and supporter of the incumbent governor, Ademola Adeleke, who is seeking re-election. Now, let's start with the issue of restrictions. If you look at the screen now, you see the governor. I think that was when the governor went to cast his vote, in his polling unit, in his ward in some parts of Osun State. That is the governor with his flagship victory side, that covers his eyes and all of that. Let me ask you, Prince. Let's start with the issue of restriction of movement during elections. Seychelles is a tiny African country. They conducted elections recently. They didn't have to shut down the entire country, And so why do we always see that in Nigeria?
We are not growing forward. Nigeria is not moving forward, and we still have this mentality of we can't do it right without restrictions. We can't achieve anything without force, intimidation. Because honestly speaking, with the amount of money budgeted for the elections or that INEC is giving, we should be having we should have a free and fair election where nobody gets harassed, nobody gets intimidated. You see, when you impose all this non-movement restriction, that is when you now give room for charlatans
to take over.
And you give room for government, in quotes, officials to now be all over the place. Because at the end of the day, you find out that how are you going to restrict all the governors from other states that are in Osun State? Who's going to restrict them? Don't forget.
With their security details.
That's exactly. They have their police security details. Are you going to stop them? When the same security details are from the same federal police. So we need to grow. We need to tell ourselves the truth. Where do we want to get Nigeria to? And only our politicians will do that. Unfortunately, politics in Nigeria has become a lifeline. It's no longer an issue of I am coming or I am presenting myself to serve the people. It's a matter of I'm presenting myself for the people to serve me. In other words, our leaders, in one way or the other, are learning the art of enslaving the people. Because what we have is not what you call good governance. It's not what you call democracy. Because the people have ended up becoming slaves to the political class.
Unfortunately, Maz, let's have
any country having an election without much ado, the stakes in our election is so high. The, remuneration, what you get as a politician, assuming you win an election, is so humongous. The point is, make political positions less attractive. Okoro, the next day, you will not see violence in our political process. I make bold to say that the pecuniary consideration accruable to politicians is the cause of, violence in our election process. Let us have a measured remuneration for our politicians. Let us de-emphasize the issue of money. Let us make, assuming you are going to the Senate, it is when you go that they will pay you your allowance, your hotel allowance, feeding allowance, and all that. If you are staying 3 days in Abuja, they will give you money for 3 days. You go there and legislate and go back to your business. But if we continue the way we are going, the stakes will always be high. And that is why politicians do anything to get into power. Okay, because if you get into power, the rest is history.
People see it more like an investment. I mean,
absolutely.
I'm going to recoup.
Absolutely. Recall in the 60s, people begged people to come and become councillors. And they will say no. Now, medical doctors, engineers, architects, every person abandon his profession and begin to talk about politics. Because that is where the take home It's very juicy.
Now, who should take the responsibility for what we talk?
Work on our electoral guidelines, all those things. You see, it takes a madman to begin to engineer and re-engineer a sane society. It takes a madman. Somebody comes in and begin to point who's are these things.
I hope
the next minute.
It's not physical madness.
Yeah, it's not physical madness.
Madness has make a difference.
Madness in the right direction.
Like madness in terms of intellectual.
Okay,
yes.
Like someone who will make a difference.
Because by the time you are doing it, people will say, what is this man up to? But you know where you're going to. You plug all those loopholes. By the time somebody comes to you and say, we're going to come and represent us in this, you say, no, what am I going there to do?
Exactly the point. That will lead me to my next question. If you go back to our first republic, we saw people who served in government. M.I. Opara, he was a premier, in the southeast. As at the time he finished, I'm not sure he had a decent apartment of his own.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
We had Julius Nyerere in Tanzania, very well Tanzania.
Even the Kwame Nkrumah in Ghana.
Kwame Nkrumah in Ghana. And we could point to people here in Nigeria.
Yes.
By the time he finished serving, they didn't have a decent apartment and all of that. But shortly after that, if you got into government and you don't come home with something, people will blame you. Why didn't you steal money to build an edifice, to build a mansion and all of that? So should we blame ourselves or should we blame our leaders? Because if you become a member of the House of Representatives now, the moment you are sworn in, you have a litany of demands from your people.
Absolutely.
So who should take
responsibility? Banks will even come for you to open an account with them.
Banks will... No. Banks will not ask you to open an account. Banks will give you a loan.
In answering to what you've said, like I keep saying, it's all about perception. And there are a lot of things we need to change. The people, those in power have given the people the impression that there's what they call constituency allowance. It is that constituency allowance that people want to collect.
Prince, is not.
I'm coming.
I'm sorry. There's something. It is reality that fits perception.
Okay. It is that constituency allowance, and that's why.
Which is a reality.
Why? That's why I keep saying that. Why do you have your governor, you have your local government chairman, you have your the new one they've introduced now. This development commissions.
Okay.
So why do you still have
constituency
allowance? Why?
Is it allowance or project?
It doesn't, whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
We need to end it.
We need to end
the same thing happens with our security vote. The governors are saying, we are chief security officers on paper. In reality, we're not chief security officers. So why are you giving them security vote?
Security vote? All right, let's come back to Osun State, because reports that filtered in, says that voters turned out early on Saturday, that's this morning, for the governorship election, with some waiting for INEC officials and election materials at the polling units in Osogbo and some parts of Osun State. 15 parties participated on the ballot, while 2 candidates withdrew. Apc'S Adesina Adeyemi Doro and APM's Simon Adewale endorsed APC candidate Ambo, that's Bola Oyebamiji, and incumbent Governor Ademola Adeleke, respectively, through their parties' names, though their party's name remained on the ballot. Now, we hear that there was early turnout of voters, meaning that people of Osun State, are interested in casting their votes. Despite the violence-soaked environment, it didn't deter them. But before we get into the answers, there's a video, to that. There's a video where agents were allegedly, buying votes, and people were scrambling. Wads of money were being shown in that video, apparently for people to. Exactly. You can see it. This is vote buying in that election. Is that supposed to be a PVC or what?
Gómìnà wo lẹ ń sọ?
Gómìnà Adé Rẹ́dọ̀rọ̀ Salam ìwà lóye. ADC candidate. Gondibo.
Please just help us. Now, the question is this. There was early turnout. Do you think that the people turned out because they were coming to vote or they were expecting that this kind of thing will happen so that they will key into it?
It's two ways.
Two ways?
Yes.
Okay.
People came out genuinely to vote.
Genuinely to vote.
Yes, and then there are also people who came out with the mindset that, there will be settlement.
Okay.
You see, this is what I say to people, and I keep saying it every day. You see this money they're giving to you, even if they're giving you 100,000 naira, it will not last you for more than 1 week with the present economic reality. And what happens? That person will benefit that money over 4 years. Over 4 years, you will suffer. You kind of suffer, they suffer like the one we did now. Nigerians need to wake up. Nigerians need to realize that selling your vote means you are a non-entity. It means you have given up on the country the moment you toe the line of selling your vote. And, our security agencies, those who they arrest for carrying money during the election period, those people, when they're locked up, the key should be thrown away. Because they're not helping this country to develop. It is because of these people who are buying votes and those who are selling the votes, that is why we keep having mediocres as leaders. So for me, if you come out to vote and you collect money, you vote the wrong person, please, tomorrow, don't come and shout that the government is not doing well, because it is investment. This money they are giving you is not free. The money will be gotten back in 1,000 folds, at the detriment of the development of the state, at the detriment of the education of the state, at the detriment of health system in the state.
Okay. All right.
Let me chip in here. That they exchanged the money for PVC.
Okay.
Do they get the PVC back? Those people that are dropping their PVC for peanuts, after the election, do they get their PVC back? Or what?
Well, I wouldn't know because I've never been involved.
Okay, you should know, because that
I've
gets
been involved
into the
in
heart
vote buying
of the
before.
problem. Because once you don't have PVC, it means you are disenfranchised for further elections. Unless you will go and begin to tell INEC that you lost your PVC.
And they will issue you another
and they will issue
now,
another
my
one.
question
and
is
all
this,
that.
man.
So we must be very, very careful.
We must be very careful. Now, my straightforward question to you is, the vote buying that we see in most places is a two-way thing. I mean, if there are 2 or 3 parties that are very strong contenders, you see all of them getting involved in vote buying. I'm not trying to put you on the spot because you might not know, but I want for you to hazard a guess. If elections are manipulated, do you think that it comes from this vote buying of, you come to a polling unit, you buy 10 votes, you go to another polling unit and you buy 10 votes? Because from what we understand, I've observed elections too, and I see people going in one corner, to say exchange money and all of that. They get into the polling booth and all of that. But at the collation center, we see a different thing altogether. So this vote buying, is it real or is it just to... I understand that most times elections are manipulated at the collation center.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because how much are you going to... How
That
many
is
people
where
are you
the
going to
action
give 5,000 naira?
That in the collation center is where the action is. That is where a lot more things happen. What you see, vote buying and all that, they do that in addition to what they would do in the collation centers. You understand? Assuming they did not have their way in the collation center, they can make do with what, the voters, whatever they have done. What I'm saying in effect is that if you want to police this rigging of election, the technology must be enhanced. You see, we have said that, okay, after the election, did you upload? Because it is that, according to INEC, that once there is a inconsistency, they will now use it to cross-check whatever that is given to IREV to as
between what you recorded,
what you recorded and all that. So what we must do is that we must insist by the time we are getting out of the voting center.
That the election should be sent.
Yes, this thing should be snapped and sent. We are not talking about what is it called, network now. We have been told that even if there is no network at that material point in time, when network comes in, because network fluctuates, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, it will come back, the thing will go. So, first part of emphasis is that at that polling unit, you must ensure that it is snapped and sent. Then you now monitor the collation center, because that is where a lot more things also happens. And we have multiple collation centers. Like in a state, how many collation centers? Probably the local government. Now, Osun has about 30 local governments. So all these things will be happening simultaneously, around the 30, in 30 places. And from the polling booth to the collation center in the local government, there is a hiatus, there is a gap. A lot more things can happen within that polling booth and on transit to the local government headquarters. So we must, that is where technology, holds sway. Human interference is diminished. And once human interference is diminished in a process, the process will be 90-95%, correct.
Okay, now that you brought us to the issue of technology, Prince, do you think that Nigeria is ripe for electronic voting, where you cast your vote, register somewhere and you walk away? Are we ripe for that? Could it happen?
Mr. Koram, I'm going to go back to the question you asked him.
Okay.
Before I answer the one you asked me.
Go ahead, sir.
You talked about vote buying and talked about collation center. Okay. Most times when you talk about vote buying, the people who collect your PVCs don't use it.
What do they do with it?
They keep it.
So that next time you don't vote?
No. They keep it. So that you don't vote.
Next time?
You don't vote that particular vote.
Okay.
And I'll tell you what happens.
Go ahead, sir.
What happens is that when they keep it, if they say in this polling booth, polling unit, there are 500 registered voters, and you are able to stop 250 people from voting, it means that 250 people that did not vote, it is that vote that they now go and try to adjust when the thing is going to collation center. That is why everybody is...
Now, to what end?
That is why everybody is worried about the collation center. If we say 500 people are meant to vote in this unit, and on ground, only 10 people voted, what happens to the remaining 490 votes?
The 490 could be manipulated. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. That's where the manipulation comes in.
Because I was wondering, what do they do? I asked that innocent question.
If you talk of,
I asked it innocently.
If you talk of technology, are we ripe? We are absolutely ripe. We're more than ripe. See, the current CG of the Nigerian Customs, the man has brought in quite a number of innovations.
In the customs?
Customs. And these innovations, they're all geared towards a paperless system. Paperless system where you started with Bidogu. From Bidogu, you entered into the Nigerian National Single Window Unit. All of that is trying to eliminate, the amount of time interface between people. So you can just sit in your house now, you key in what you want, you send in your documents. The documents will be spread amongst all the agencies. Now, if customs is coming up with such innovations, on the one hand, banks, on the other hand, have come out with innovation where you just go to the entrance of the bank, you put your account number, your biometrics, you get a new ATM card. What stops INEC from doing any of this?
NBA conducts the elections. Everybody votes from the comfort of his apartment.
So what stops INEC? Must we all go and queue at INEC office because we need to get our voter's card? Because they say...
Or probably we'll see someone that wants to...
Because they say it's continuous
voter registration exercise.
exercise. So why do they always break it after the elections?
All right.
When every time I'm coming, every day in this country, a number of persons turn 18. So they will turn 18 and then they begin to wait
till the next election.
Until when INEC will now announce time to go. I mean, it is the system. INEC is not ready as a body to give us free and fair.
All right, let's stay with Osun.
Developed societies do have electronic voting. Developed societies. To what extent? What is the degree of glitches that they
experience?
Yeah, they experience. What is the degree? The degree is neither here nor there. It's infinitesimal to cause a major hiccup in the electoral process. So if they can do it, and we almost always travel to developed societies every now and then, why can't we do it?
Well, apparently we are not learning where we cannot.
You understand what I'm saying? I agree that American election is not perfect, but the level of glitches in American election, British election, and what have you, are they sufficient to, vitiate a complete and free, fair, accountable election process? No.
That's a very big question. Okay, now, Marcy, let's move on, because in the same Osun state, over 100 people described as suspected imported voters were reportedly arrested in the state after allegedly being found with newly issued PBCs at the residence of a state lawmaker, Honorable Abiola Ibrahim. Well, the arrest comes amid heightened tensions and allegations of electoral violence and irregularities, with the Accord Party claiming that its members have faced arrests and intimidation. These allegations have not all been independently verified, while Governor Adeleke has announced plans for an independent inquiry into reported election-related violence and all of that around the polling station. There's also a video where policemen were seen masked and harassing people in Osun State. Let's put up that video so that it will help us, put some context to what is going on in Osun State at the moment. Apparently, that's not the video I wanted to play, because there's a video where policemen were seen masked, and they were harassing people. Apparently, I don't know why they were doing that and on whose behalf they were doing that. But if you see widespread intimidation by security agencies, but the president has been calling, for peaceful election in Osun State. He said, well, Osun people go there and decide, let the elections be peaceful. And all of that. Why are the security agencies not listening to the president?
Well, when the president says the people should go out and vote and decide, and then the IG of police is sending in 30,000 or 15,000 police officers, the military is sending, the governors of opposition party, all of them are staying in Osun State. What do you want? What do you expect? Mr. Koro? You expect that the election will be free and fair? All the governors in in Osun State, they have their security details. Is that not part of intimidation? Why would they leave their states and go to Osun State?
Solidarity.
What kind of solidarity?
For a party member. For a brother governor. Mazi, you don't
I'm sure you saw I'm sure you saw a video that trended where some two young men said that they came with a group from Edo State. In front of, I think they even came with the policemen that are supposed to be the governors. In front of the policemen, they were saying that they were going to smoke out the governor. That the governor insulted Mondo Kpokpolo. So they came from Edo State to smoke out a sitting governor. And they're doing a video and posting it on social media.
That they want to smoke out the governor.
Yes.
A sitting governor.
Yes.
Exactly my point.
With all of
does
that,
it look like the president doesn't get to hear about these things?
He does.
He does.
He's a Nigerian.
He does.
I do not think that the president
it's all about party.
do not watch television. The president must be watching television.
Yeah, but we don't see some of these things on TV. We see them on social media. And the
He
president
must.
says, I don't
He-
like
he
going
should
there
be.
because
He should
people
see,
are insulting me. And I
governance.
cannot
So,
support
you
them.
say you don't see them, but,
It makes you
but
better.
the TV stations play them.
It makes you better. It makes you better as a president that you're also hearing one or two things outside the mainstream media.
Okay.
So that those things will guide your thoughts, your utterances, whatever you do as a government, because that is where you hear the truth. By the
do
time
we
it
see-
comes to mainstream media,
why do we see this kind of tension in Osun State? Why do
Very-
we see this
very
kind of tension?
unfortunate.
Does it look like, well, APC is intent on taking Osun
No,
at all
it
costs?
says, what we see in Osun State is state capture.
And what happened in Edo State? What happened in Ekiti State?
Well, that is state capture. APC is bent on capturing Osun State by hook or by crook, by fair or by unfairness. They want to capture
But the
Osun.
president doesn't want all of it.
Who told you that?
I mean, we are
Are
here
you-
now.
all-
The president
all is fair in
the
politics.
All
president
is fair in politics,
He-
Mr. Koro.
they have
the
31
president,
now.
The president put a direct call to
They
the
have
governor.
they have
Hey,
31
Jackson,
states
I'm
now.
sorry. I have
The
asked
Mr. President will want
hold on.
32.
Mr. Koro, all is fair in politics.
But he put a call to the,
When,
to the
when,
governor.
when the president went to Chatham House and said, after the meeting in Chatham House, I think they were, when he said, grab it, snatch it, and run.
No, that wasn't when he said it.
No,
it
that's what-
was after the announcement of the election.
No,
Okay,
in
before,
Chatham, after the Chatham House when they're having dinner, that's when he said it. Grab
That
it.
is not served a la carte.
yeah, it's not
Good.
something like that.
When he said that, between you and I, we saw the ripple effect of that.
No, but that was in 2023.
No, but we saw the ripple
Excuse me,
effect.
Prince.
You see,
Prince,
you
excuse
see,
me.
when you say
Prince,
something
excuse
as a
me.
leader,
Excuse me. Now, Osun States are crowns, were frozen by EFCC. The president said, for the first time that he signed a personal statement condemning it, EFCC embarrassed me. I didn't know anything about it.
And
He
what
put a
happened to
call,
EFCC?
I'm sorry, he put a call to the governor. Jackson, they are going to vacate that order so that you can have your thing, run the state the way you want. If the president did all of this, does it give the impression that his party
it
wants
was-
to Osun State?
Within
Are
that
you-
time frame, he was on a hot seat, as it were. So he needed certain things to cushion the temperature, to make the temperature to
Who
come
put
down.
him on that hot seat?
The events around that time,
are you telling me now that
the Catholic issue and what have you, put the president on the spot.
under a lot of pressure?
You think
understand?
that the president can be president says
Why
I'm a
can't he
stubborn
not be on the
politician.
pressure?
He
See,
cannot put
if this
pressure on
this
me.
local-
There is a way Mr. President will handle the affairs of this country, and this country will go into chaos. And I don't know. I want to believe that he wouldn't want the country to go into chaos during his
Under his watch.
Under his watch. So
Okay.
he must seem to do something. Recall that singular statement he made now doused the tension.
Now, if the president is this measured,
People have also said-
sorry, Maz, if the president is this measured, the way you are explaining it don't run counter to the idea that APC wants Osun State at all costs. And that is why the president is calling for free,
Mr.
fair, and
Okoro,
credible
No, no,
Mr.
no, no.
elections.
Okoro,
You see-
sorry.
Okay.
Mr. Okoro, we keep talking about the president signed a personal press release. Are you telling me that the EFCC DG just woke up from sleep without consultations and froze the account?
Well, I'll take the president by his words. He said he didn't know.
Where does the buck stop?
At the president's table. But it does not mean that EFCC should not be independent.
Have they been
You know,
independent?
some people
my point
some
is
people
this.
have picked holes
It-
in that even instructions
Okay.
or directives.
Meaning
from
that
Mr.
he's the
President.
one that even
Yes, that
EFCC
he
on
knows
what to do.
everything that goes on.
Okay.
That
But
is
in
what
this
it
case,
is.
he said
he
didn't know.
doesn't know, which means the other ones that have been happening, he knows about them.
Okay, now let's leave the okay, still part of the Osun discussion. If the president is this measured, it gives the impression that, well, he might not want to take Osun at all costs. Does it look like it is the party man, like the party chairman that said, well, I'm sorry, even if you endorse our president, we want that state?
You see,
Does
Mr.
it look like it is the president's
Mr.
handlers,
President does
the
not work-
president's henchmen
He doesn't
that
work
are
in
doing
isolation.
all of this are behind the
It
president?
doesn't work in isolation. Recall, the way politics works, go and deliver your state. What does that mean? It's an omnibus statement. Okay. Go and deliver your state. You understand me? Because your ability to deliver your state, your ability to deliver your unit, your ward, your local government, puts you on a better pedestal to begin to bargain when the when the food is done. When they begin to share the booty from politics. So you can bargain that after all, I delivered my local government and all that. And that pushes a lot of pressure. That makes them, to run with it grab it, and what have you. And all is not fair in politics. So they must do certain things to begin to become relevant. Because that is where, recall how this election works. After winning an election, you see a lot of people decamping from the party. Because they will come up on the table and say, look, I did this, I did that. And what are you giving to me? You are giving to me DG of a parastatal.
And he says no.
And he says no. When somebody that did not perform the way I perform is now a minister and all that. You see, just take a look at Nigerian system. Shortly, 6 months after election, you see some people, they will be disgruntled, disillusioned, and all that, and then begin to sing different songs. That is the way Nigerian politics, goes. And I continue to insist that human interference is so much in our electronic election processes. And that is why the violence is so high. Remove, just like Chilaga is saying, paperless system in customs. Remove human interference. Everything will come down naturally. And we must work. You see, I wouldn't mind if the INEC budget of 800 and something billion is doubled to something, and then ensure that electronic voting is in place.
All right, Mas, you talked about violence, still on Osun State. Now, the Adeleke Campaign Council has alleged that armed security personnel in more than 100 black Hilux vehicles surrounded and sealed off the residence of the Osun State House of Assembly Speaker, Adewale Ebwedun, on election day. That's to be reportedly preventing people inside from leaving. The council said it could not independently verify the purpose of the deployment and called on security agencies to explain the situation while urging them to avoid actions that could create fear or intimidation during the governorship election. The speaker's residence sealed inside, people prevented from coming out, all of that. And apparently, it could be coming from, if the state is a court party, so it's obvious that it was not given by, the order was not given by the state governor. And so again, we'll get back to the issue of why the desperation by the ruling party to take action.
Now, Okoro, let us put that side by side, the issue of state policing. Let us ask ourselves, if, for instance, we have state policing, and then federal police come to seal that place, and the state police says no, what do you think would happen?
Well, in a state election, would the federal police have the authority to seal that place in a state election?
Because you see, it's all about security, who is in charge. It's about who is in charge. Which is why I'm saying that we must, first of all, practice this state policing with the current federal policing we have.
Prince,
who gave that directives?
The State Commissioner of Police.
From where? Where did he drive his power from?
From the Police Act. And he reports to the IG of Police.
Good. Where did the IG drive his power from?
From the Police Act.
No, from the presidency.
No, not from the presidency. From the Police Act.
From the presidency.
No, it was
because
the presidency.
If the president is saying, go out and vote, there is no fear of intimidation. What they have done to the speaker, is that not intimidation?
Now, what would have happened if you had state police?
That's what I'm saying. If we had state police, the way we are structured now, there would have been chaos.
Chaos?
Yes.
But I see places like, if you go to US, if there's a problem and the FBI comes in, well, they'll look at the place. Is it a federal facility or a state facility? If it's a federal facility, FBI will say, hey, NYPD, LAPD, just walk away. If it's a state facility, they'll say, I'm sorry, we cannot handle it.
No. They will tell you, we will observe.
Which meaning that they cannot handle it. So they will allow the state police to do their work.
Is that what we want in Nigeria?
Shouldn't we want that?
That's what I'm saying, that it is the way we are going, the way Nigeria is structured in terms of policing. You will have chaos in your hand.
Okay, you are thinking that if we had state police, that there would have been chaos. Because if we had state police, do you think that the federal police will be in Osun State? Do we what?
No. There
is no debatation. There is no what? Nigeria is one. You don't have compartmentalization of federal police and that of the state.
No, it will get to that point.
No, what I'm saying, in physical terms, all of us are here. There can be a federal police, county police, that is local government police, and the state police. But the issue is just like the road we apply on. They tell you that this is a federal road, but all roads are in a state.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? So delineation becomes a little
But
bit
they have
more
authorities.
difficult.
There are certain things the state people cannot do on a federal road.
Absolutely. That is the essence of what they are doing now. The re-engineering process that the State Police Committee is doing, so that you can now chart a course for the state police and know, federal police, what they should do and all that. But the issue of Osun State, the speaker being under probably house arrest or something, how can it? Mr. President, how can it be explained? Mr. President have given, instruction, and people are doing what they want to do and all that. So how does Mr. President now, sanction those people? He cannot. It's difficult. Now, what threat? Remember, this speaker had before now been arrested and released. So what is going on? By this time tomorrow, the coast will be clear.
The person that was arrested was the secretary to the government.
Oh, secretary to the government. Beg your pardon. Secretary to the government. So key government officials are being intimidated. Because also they have some controlling influence on their members. So if they are under check,
They
it becomes
cannot control their
it becomes difficult.
To reach
So
out to
the
their members.
field is not a level playing field now. So you talk about desperation. It's because of what they are likely to gain. That is why they are very desperate, in achieving this. And the popular saying, go to court. By the end of the day, they will ask you to go to court.
And you go to court.
And that you go to court, and that is the Nick Demetrius. That is the end of the story.
Why will it be the end of the story? Justice will be served at the courts.
Okay.
Okay. Let's go on a short break. When we come back, we'll get into our next topic of conversation. Please do stay with us. We'll be right back.
Africa is on the move, a continent of rising voices, untold stories, and powerful transformations. From the streets of Lagos to the heart of Nairobi, from the mines of Congo to the tech labs of Cape Town, the African story is being written every day. Bold, dynamic, unstoppable. This is African News on Voice of the People Television. We don't just bring you the news. We analyze and bring you Africa's heartbeat, the politics that shapes our nations, the economies that drives our future, the cultures that defines who we are, the voice that must be heard. Africa News, Africa's voice, Africa's future. Where Africa speaks, the world listens.
Welcome back to News on Park. Nigeria and the United States have begun a fresh round of security talks in Washington, focusing on counter-terrorism, security cooperation, and bilateral defense. Well, the Nigerian delegation is led by National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu, with other senior officials participating. The talks follow the U.S. redesignation of Nigeria as a country of particular concern and aims to strengthen cooperation while addressing religious freedom and fundamental rights. Well, separately, the U.S. 2026 Fiscal Transparency Report criticized Nigeria for insufficient transparency in government revenues, spending, and public procurement. It cited gaps between approved budgets and actual implementation, and concerns about the independence of Nigeria's Supreme audit institution, while acknowledging progress in publishing that information and establishing frameworks for natural resource contracts. The U.S. recommended that Nigeria makes its executive budget proposals more accessible to the public. Well, gentlemen, Prince, the problem is in Nigeria. The security problem is in Nigeria. The summit is holding in Washington. In cozy offices in Washington, high-level meeting between a national security advisor, Under Secretary of State of the United States of America, in some highbrow area of Washington, D.C., probably close to Pentagon, probably close to Capitol, and all of that. But the problem of insecurity is here in Nigeria. We hear that some World Bank officials, when they want to come and write proposals for Africa, they come and stay in five-star hotels, open their windows, look at the slums and all of that, and come up with a report. Is that what we are seeing in this situation?
It's us. It's not just Nigeria. It's an African thing. It's really sad that each time we talk of all these summits, we talk about summits about health, we find out that Nigeria has a very terrible health system. They will not hold the summit in Nigeria. They will go outside Nigeria to hold the summit. We're talking of insecurity. If you're going to hold a summit on insecurity, why not hold it in the Northeast?
Or probably go to Sambisa. Is that what you're suggesting?
Yes.
Okay, so that they will kill the Americans there.
No. Go to the heart of where the problem is. That is how you solve
so that
the
you
problem.
feel the problem.
Yes. So they've gone to America. First of all, they've used scarce natural resources to travel to America, to stay in hotels. At the end of the day, what are they coming back with? Because the American people will be looking at it from what they see on TV and what they read on social media.
But they also have intelligence.
It doesn't matter. The first-hand intelligence is here. Why live where the problem is and go to a place where there is no problem and be holding a meeting on how to solve the problem? So for me, I'm not a party to all such kinds of meetings. I believe that it is high time we prioritize what we really want as a nation and begin to do the right thing.
Yeah, sometimes also, you see, what our politicians do, even in the country, when they want to distribute infrastructure and all that, they will look at community A and think that electricity is their problem. They've not gone to community A, but they will assume in their cozy offices that let's give them electricity.
Okay, they lack needs assessment.
Yes. By the time you get to that community, they have already gotten electricity. Probably water is the problem. So what are we talking about? It is everywhere. And more importantly, if America has designated us CPAC, why must they come here? You are the person that will begin to look for them. Because of perhaps, they are on top, as it were.
Okay, so
in this type of game.
Okay.
You have to go there and explain. And I do not think they will come back with a clean bill of health based on that, their explanation to that place, to Washington.
Okay, so are you saying that, are you implying that they are going on some kind of damage control meeting?
Absolutely. They were here when things were going wrong. Nigerian government was here when things were going wrong.
Okay.
And a lot more people were talking about it. And before you say Jack Robinson, they will brand you that you are anti-government.
Okay.
Or you don't want the government to succeed. Government is doing enough and all that and all that. Now, the chicken has come home to roost, as it were. So the problem has been externalized and did not begin to go to America to see how they can, damage control what we ought to have done. So this is a situation where when you leave something you ought to do and begin to do other things, that is the kind of scenario. They are going there genuflecting. They are going there to bend down.
How much of this?
They are not on
how much of this
now.
damage control helps us solve our problem? Because apparently the problem is still there. In a high-level security summit like this, we should be talking about measures that we are putting in place. What cooperation are you giving us? You had 100 people here or 200. At some point, you pull out a preponderance of them. We don't even know how many of them that are left here. And so if they are, by the way, we have high level representation there. The National Security Advisor is leading the team. I understand the Minister of Foreign Affairs is there. The Chief of Defense Staff is there. The Minister of Defense.
Half of the cabinet is
half
there.
of
Just
I mean, in the security
Mr.
architecture.
Okoro,
And they left this place bare.
Mr. Okoro, you call it a summit.
Okay.
From what you say, is it a summit? Or is it that they have gone to answer query? Because if you say it's a summit is something that you're going to be looking at problems. And you're going to be looking at how do you find solutions to these problems. But I don't see this as a summit. I see it as, our government officials going to America to say, oh God, we won't come explain something to them.
What are they explaining? They paid $9 million, to clean their image.
And the money has expired now.
Okay, so you need to be there. But this is not the first time they are holding this kind of
money
summit.
that they give Babalawo.
I learned they wanted to meet with Mr. President, who now said no. That
That is Trump.
yeah, Trump, who said no, that they should confine themselves with the others. So what is important here is that Mr. President himself, should have taken up this gun.
Our own president.
Yeah, our president. Yes.
Okay.
Should have taken up. It's a very serious problem. There is a way. Things are happening. The head of the family takes a trip out.
Okay, so probably he doesn't want to go twice. We understand that he's going for Onga. That's in September around the.
Which one is more important?
Okay, he will discuss with the president.
No, yes. Which
on the
one is more
sidelines
important?
of-
You have been, CPC has its own implications.
Okay.
You understand? You need to clear up that mess first before you talk about hunger.
Hunger.
The priorities. Your country has been designated this. You need to get, going
clean bill.
and then get a clean bill of health. Every other thing will begin to fall in place.
But
We miss our priorities.
but
That's the point.
Interestingly, the federal government has not come out openly to tell us how many of the Americans were withdrawn and why they were withdrawn.
Exactly the point.
They have
Exactly
not.
the point. No, there's a reason why we heard that they were withdrawn, that looks like their work is done. They were able to kill Minwaki, second in command of
Is that
ISWAP.
all they came for?
Is that all they came for? That's questions Nigerians are asking.
Because
And at
we-
some point, we had a correspondence between our president and the US president. One wrote the other. We didn't see what he wrote. Now, one replied. We saw what he replied, and all
How
of that.
about that
So,
letter? What happened to it?
what happened? I mean,
The system was quiet about it. Just like the way the system is quiet about Sheikh
Jingis.
Yes.
The system
Sometimes-
seems to
you know,
be
it's-
quiet. The system seems to be quiet about every other thing that is.
That is the problem. That is the problem they are going to face in Washington, trying to explain. You see, by the time you are trying to contain whatever mess we have done, we are doing more, we are having more mess. You understand what I'm saying? If you now talk about, genocide, blah, 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 the statement in Kanu further add insult to injury. Further. Because we don't need to begin to do one thing, as government, and then your populace, your citizens
Are doing a different thing.
doing a different thing, which means you don't have control over what is going on. Now, what the man said in Kanu will reverberate in Washington.
Now, how will it reverberate in Washington when Trump did acknowledge that the genocide, the killing of Christians in Nigeria is drastically reduced? And probably that's part of the reasons why they had to pull out the troops that they sent here. That's the impression that we got. So what has
was
you
it
are
what
confirming the
Trump,
letter
did Trump say that?
You are confirming that.
No, that's what the Nigerian government told Nigeria.
So Nigerian government will always tell you their own side of the story. Between you and I, since the Americans...
But Trump did acknowledge that there's some level of progress in security situation
See,
in
where
Nigeria.
everybody knows that there's some level of progress.
Okay.
But when you now allow people who should be able to calm the situation to begin to run their mouth without caution, what do you think? Bishop Cardinal Onaiko came out and said, we had a meeting with Mr. President. This is what we said to Mr. President, and this is the response of Mr. President. And everybody, including the presidential aides, they came after him. And then some other cleric comes out and says that Christians in a country we call one Nigeria, in a country we say that it is a secular state. And you're saying that some people are infidels.
And
I've
everyone
not
is
heard
clapping.
anything from Buala. I've not heard anything from
Bayo.
Bayo Nano. I've not heard
Sunday
anything
Dare.
from Sunday Dare.
And all that.
So why are they quiet?
These are the problems.
Now,
like I said,
talking about
these
being
are the
quiet
problems they are going to face in Washington.
Now, talking about
Trying to explain this Muslim
Utterances.
clerics' utterances.
Now, talking about quietude, America also raised issues with our fiscal responsibility, our budgeting system, and all of that. And Nigerians are asking, "Hey, America, what's your business in all of this? I mean, it's our budget.
That is a
Why are they prognosing? Why are they
That is a
interfering?"
very,
Some people
very-
are asking. Looks like it's an infringement on Nigeria's sovereignty. Mazi, what do you think?
Well, you can call it that, but the ultimate beneficiary is the Nigerians. You can call it that because sovereignty of a state is sacrosanct.
Okay.
Yeah, sovereignty of a state is sacrosanct.
So how
A
can
nation state
Nigerians be
like
the
Nigeria.
beneficiaries?
But since we cannot tell ourselves the truth, the one that Bishop Onaeko said, you saw how it pans out. You understand what I'm saying? If we refuse to tell ourselves the truth, international communities will tell us the
Now,
truth.
the president,
That is the point.
president says that very soon he will start publishing how the fuel subsidy funds saved have been applied.
How many years into his first term?
This is almost going to 4 years.
Better
4
late
years.
than never.
No, Mr.
Better
Koro.
late than never.
Mr. Koro, Nigerians,
If it takes Mr. President to do this because Americans have spoken, so be it.
Okay, you think that he's saying it because America spoke?
Of course.
this is 4 years. This is almost
Good
4
governance has no duplicate. It's either is good governance
Or
or
it's
it's
nothing.
not.
Well, David has been busy. Umar is busy explaining what the funds are meant for. Are being used for infrastructure. The governors are getting more money.
No.
And governors do
Yeah,
acknowledge that they are getting more money.
Mr. Koro, please, let us not change the narrative.
It's not me changing
No.
it. It's
No,
Dave
no.
Umar he's
Wait.
saying.
Dave
Dave
Umahi-
Umar he said,
wait.
when we borrow, sorry, Prince. Dave Umar he says, people are asking us what we do with borrowed money. We are using it to apply to infrastructure so that to provide welfare for
Okay,
people.
this is what I'm going to say, Mr. Okoro. It is Mr. President who told us on the 29th of May, 2023, that subsidy is gone. It's still the same president who told us the critical infrastructural areas that the savings will be applied. He didn't tell us that the money was going to be shared with governors.
No, the president doesn't have the power to spend
No,
that money.
wait, Mr.
The money
Okoro.
generated
Mr.
goes to
Okoro.
FAC.
Mr. Okoro.
And FAC is a
Mr. Okoro.
constitutional matter.
No, please, Mr. Okoro. We've had different interventions by different presidents.
Okay.
When we had the PTF, it was the money for PTF was from our oil windfall, if I'm right.
Okay.
It was kept aside.
No, it's from petroleum tax that you
That's
and
what
I
I'm
paid.
saying. It's
Okay.
windfall. It was kept aside, and we saw what it was being used for.
Oh, but we don't have PTF now. And so the whole money goes to FAC.
So the president told us clearly what the money was meant for. We have a lot of intervention that the president has set up. Nobody is giving us account. Nigerians have been asking, Mr. President, where is the service? Give us a breakdown. So if in the last 3.5 years, he has not been able to give us the breakdown of how much was saved and how the money was used, is it in the next 6 months that we'll get the breakdown?
And do you have a problem with that? He's willing to do that.
Let me shift a little bit. The narrative building that is coming up from America about physical responsibility and all that, how we manage our resources, to me, will be at the center stage. I think that will subsume the issue of security in the coming days. That is the way I look at it. Because they've not said something like this before. Why is it now coming up? They tied it to security. You understand what I'm saying? If you read that, thing that was,
The report.
the report, they tied it to security. So what it tells me is that weighs more in their scale than the issue of security. By the time our delegates come back, you'll find out that emphasis have been laid on the finance more than the, security issue. Why are they tying up security and finance? Have you seen in a country where you have 3 years budget being implemented in a year? There is a lot of opaqueness in what they are doing, and that is what America is asking.
If it works for you, why not? Maz, if it works for you, why not?
How can it work for you?
Okay,
It's a deviation from the. It's a complete deviation from the standard practice.
Okay.
Budget is for a period of time.
You don't like disruption.
What are you talking about?
You disruptive technology, 3 budgets working together and all of that, and the country is moving. You don't like it?
It is very unfortunate.
Okay.
Because it leads to a lot of confusion.
Okay.
As it stands now, you don't even know the budget you are working with.
On.
The one that is in 2024, you carry it over.
Now my question
You carry
is,
it over. Are you still carrying the money? How are you talking
my
about?
question is this.
And this
If we
is
have
a
3 budgets.
heavily financed projects, infrastructural.
My question is this. If these 3 budgets are working concurrently and inflation is dropping, Nigeria is a construction site, roads are being paved, hospitals are filled with Nigerian doctors, medics, and all of that. If it is working, will you have a problem with that?
Is that what?
No, I'm saying,
is that what you have?
No. They are trying to, they are experimenting.
The picture you are painting is totally at variance with
what
reality.
is on ground?
With reality.
Yes,
Okay.
they are totally at
I'm
variance
thinking
with
that
reality.
they might be experimenting, to see if it works.
For how many years now?
How long should an experiment last? Political experiment.
In a 4-year term period.
In a 4-year term period, you're experimenting up to 3.5
Up to
years.
this time. I saw Mr. President talking about when these people, is it Pengatin or whatever?
Nupeng.
Nupeng. Is it Nupeng or Pengatin?
It's Nupeng.
When he was talking about
He said they are
refineries.
looking at refinery.
It's Nupeng.
How many months to go? That is preposterous. That is an insult on Nigerians. We are looking at refinery less than 9 months to go. Maybe 8 months to go.
You don't want the refineries to work. Or what?
Mr. Okoro.
What are they going to achieve now? That is so they want to now use it as a campaign strategy.
Okay.
What he should be doing is what I have done. This is what I have done. This is what I have done.
Not what
It
I will
is the
do.
other opposition that will be telling you, I will do this if I enter.
Well, I think that the president is just trying to renew our hopes because he has a renewed hope agenda. That is what. Let's move away from security and go back to elections now at the national level. Because we heard that the European Union, EU, has confirmed that it will deploy an electoral mission expert, between 2 to 4 of them, in 2027. And I'm asking, how will the EU as a whole deploy 2 to 4 election mission experts in Nigeria to cover the entire 36 states of the Federation and the FCT? There's been this back and forth between INEC, EU, and Nigerians. At some point, INEC came out to say, we have invited EU. Some people said EU rejected that invitation. EU came out to say, no, we didn't reject that invitation. We are coming. But we are going to deploy 2 to 4 election expert monitors mission in Nigeria to cover this. How is that going to happen?
The truth of the matter is that the EU have lost faith in the Nigerian electoral system. And when you lose faith in something, you just try to make a kind of makeshift. Let it not be that we did not even show face at all. The truth of the matter is that, EU that we know would have said, oh, okay, we're coming. We know the numbers they come with. But as it is, they're not interested in your elections.
You think they're not interested?
No, they're not interested.
You see,
let me give you information.
Sorry, let me.
On
this issue. There was a viral video where the EU gave their report.
Okay.
They described what happened in Nigeria as a crime scene. Now, before that time, as at that time, 2023, they sent about 100 close to 100.
That's the report I want. That's the record I wanted.
Now
to
they are telling you they are bringing 3 or 4.
Now,
what does that say?
Let's go back to that 2023
It's lost
record.
of interest.
Now, in 2023, on January 29, that year 2023, ahead of the presidential elections, February 2025, EU sent 11 core team of election observers on that day. 2 weeks later, they sent 40 long-term observers deployed around Nigeria to cover all the 36 states of the Federation and FCT. Subsequently, around 56 representatives of EU embassies in Nigeria, as well as delegations from the European Parliament, reinforced the election observation mission on the election day. In total, the mission comprised 116 observers from 25 EU member states.
Yeah.
2023.
Yeah.
So now they're talking about 4.
2 to 4.
What does it tell you? It tells you they've lost interest in your electoral process. They don't believe in it.
What is the value of the election monitoring and observation that they do? For
It gives credence to, the process.
Have we ever listened to them?
Even if you
They've
don't
not.
listen to it.
We've not. And that was why their 2023 report, government has not been able to look at it to be able to do what they said, what the issues they raised. If you sent about 100 in 2023 and now you are sending 4, that is infinitesimal. It's inconsequential, to what they're doing. It is a very good way of telling Nigerians, sorry, we're not coming. If you ask my, considered opinion, it is a very subtle way of telling Nigerians, do your thing. There is no need our coming. Having described the 2023 election,
They said they were harassed in 2023. They said they were harassed in 2023, but they are denying that report that they were not harassed. So who do we believe now? Should we believe EU that says, well, at some point they say we are citing insecurity as a reason for not coming because we were harassed, and 3 or 4 days later, the same EU comes to say, oh, well.
Ordinarily, EU should be excited to send delegates to monitor elections. They should be excited. But now they are foot dragging.
You think they don't want to
If you invite me for an occasion on a Sunday, today is Saturday, and you want me to come for that, by today I should be looking for a clothes to wear, ironing my clothes, and getting prepared, time myself so that I can be there by 12 as it were. But if you invite me and up till this moment I've not made up my mind to come for that occasion, what does that mean?
You think they don't want to get into harm's way or what? Because of what
they
they
don't want to.
understand
You see,
doing.
there are things you see, there are things you experience. They will block your psyche, the way you reason.
They're
You understand what
protecting
I'm
their
saying?
mental health.
Yes, they're protecting their mental health. Let me borrow from Shinaka. They're protecting them because they don't want to see what they saw in 2023. Simplicity.
Prince, looking at Osun election, let's walk back to Edo, Ekiti, and Osun. What do you expect in 2027?
If from what we've seen, it's something to go by, 2027 is going to be bloody.
That's scary.
But that's what it is. As at now, people have started making comments. I'm sure you're aware of what Sunday Igboho said about some candidates coming to.
Not coming to.
Yeah, that's some candidates should not come to the Southwest. And then I ask myself, if he says that, and somebody from the North says, so and so candidates don't come to the North.
His statement, by the way, reinforced by the Oluwo of Iwo Land, Abdurrashid
Yes.
Akambi, that says,
So
hey, don't
if another person from the Southeast says the same thing, what do you think you have in our hands? Chaos. But who has been arrested? Who has been questioned? So we have allowed tribalism and ethnicity to eat deep into our political life.
Okay, before we leave this conversation, let's walk back to Osun State. From everything you understand, what do you think? Coalition is on the way. We hear that a particular political party, the early results coming in show that Accord is leading.
No, Adeleke will come back.
Adeleke will come back. Okay, that's what you think.
Yeah, that's what I believe.
Yeah,
from everything.
Yeah, do not take early lead, as this thing, because until the results are announced, you cannot, jump up and say hooray.
Okay.
So they can, give you false hope, and then at the end of it all, when the chips are down, you see 1 or 2, 3 local governments.
You see abracadabra.
Yeah, abracadabra. It will turn the whole thing upside down. So I think Accord should not bask on the euphoria of early lead.
No, Accord is not doing that.
Okay.
Accord is not doing that. It's just.
I'm thinking that Prince didn't take that position based on early lead, based on what you understand.
I'm looking at it not on lead. I'm looking at it on the fact that the people of Osun State will speak.
I want to stay on the sideline.
I want to stay on the
sideline.
I want to take
I don't want to take a position because of also what I know about the political issues in Nigeria.
Okay, I want to take away the early lead.
Yeah.
What do you think might happen in Osun State?
That is assuming you have free and fair, credible elections.
Free and fair, credible
Of
election.
course, Adeleke will come back.
Okay.
That is what I think. But in a situation where that is taken away, then it becomes any person's game.
Yeah, which is true.
All right. So briefly, before we leave, you are concluding thoughts on the Washington summit and the EU observation team. What do you say?
I think they have got there to Georgia to take instructions from the powers that be and all that. What we need to do is to walk the talk. Nigerian government should be able to look them in the face and address some of their concerns that American government has raised. Finance inclusive. We must have, clear pathway to good governance in this country. That's the way I look at it.
All right, then. The Prince.
Well, for me, I think we should focus more on accountability and, separate. There are two issues at stake. One is the issue of spending, which is bordered on accountability, and then the other one is bordered on insecurity. So I think we don't need to model the two of them together. I think that for me, anything that has to do with security, so to say, and you call it a summit, it should not hold outside the shores of Nigeria. It should hold within the shores of Nigeria, because this is where the action is really happening. Now, regarding the EU, well, for me, just because the fact that Nigeria never takes the politicians and then the government of the day, they have never taken electoral monitors seriously. They've not even considered any of their reports. So sometimes you ask yourself, why do they even come? When nobody takes them seriously.
When nobody takes them seriously.
So why do they come? Why do they waste their energy and their time? But for me, I think INEC can do better.
INEC can do better.
And I would say this with all sense of responsibility. INEC has to find a way of distributing sensitive materials outside Nigerian Union of Transport Workers.
Outside Nigerian Union of Road Transport Workers. Well, this would be a good place to end this conversation. We've been discussing Osun election. We hear that collation is underway as we speak. Well, I've been discussing with two very wonderful gentlemen here, Prince Francis Chilaka and Mazi Amobi Hiburu, both of them political affairs analysts. I'm sure that by this time tomorrow, the winner in the Osun State global election will have emerged. Between now and then, let's keep our fingers crossed. Oh well, this is where we call it a day. Bye for now. I'll see you on Monday, 8 o'clock in the morning on the morning show. I am Chukwuma Okoro. Enjoy the rest of your weekend and bye for now.
VOP TV. Now, you have more than a voice.
Behind every broken desk lies a broken promise. Education shapes the nations. But who is asking the right questions? Introducing Edu Dialogue, the show that goes beyond the surface, exposes the cracks, the corruption, and the silence in Nigeria's education system. Edu Dialogue, Saturdays, 3 p.m., only on VOP TV. We break the biggest stories, from missing funds to policy failures. We ask the tough questions and demand real answers. Edu Dialogue, this Saturday, 3 p.m. on Voice of the People Television.
Join us as we drive into the world of politics through insightful interviews with prominent political figures, both serving and former governors, ministers, senators, legislators, party chieftains, activists, and analysts. Get first-hand information into the decision-making processes that affect our daily lives. Highly engaging one-hour program that brings political discourse into focus.
I am Chukwuma Okoro.
Political Lens, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. Join us.
In a world where power shifts with every headline.
In a nation full of questions.
In a world filled with noise, the truth needs the voice.
The policies that shapes our world and the economy that determines our future.
Every hour, every day, the grapevine keeps buzzing.
And together, we are committed to telling the stories that shape our world, because your voice is our focus.
Don't forget, our voice matters the most. Let us come together and share our concerns.
In a world where truth is the ultimate power and opinions scream the loudest, it's time to wade through the noise.
Hunger no get tribe! Hunger no get religion!
And scan the human interest and trending topics that matter. Stay tuned to The Issues, your plug to the stories making the buzz, from politics to science and technology, social justice, and more. Let's tackle the tough questions and expose the truth. The Issues on Voice of the People Television. Don't just react, understand. Do you want your voice to be heard? Do you know that you matter in the scheme of things? The People's Voice, the show where ordinary citizens take center stage as we discuss the biggest stories that affect you and I. With you in mind, we facilitate lively discussions, debates, and interviews on the topics that matter most to you and I. From social justice to economic empowerment, education to healthcare, governance, and more. Tackling tough topics and amplifying your voice. Join the conversation and make your voice count. The People's Voice. Make your voice count. The red carpets, awards, the razzmatazz, music, fashion, interviews, and more. Spotlight on Voice of the People Television. Let's feed you with all the juicy stories in the global entertainment space, bringing you the glitz and glamour as they hot. Stay tuned to Spotlight, 1 p.m. Monday to Friday. Spotlight on VOP TV. Entertainment like never before.
Yes, obviously everybody knows the game is beautiful, and that's why I love sports. My name is Kizzy K. You're welcome to my republic. But remember, there can never be a transfer without a window. Just like there can never be a...
that affects our daily lives. Highly engaging one-hour program that brings political discourse into focus.
I am Chukwuma Okoro.
Political Lens, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. Join us.
This is Health Check, your weekly guide to better living, smarter choices, and trusted answers. From everyday wellness
to urgent health issues, we've got you covered. Health check only on Voice of the People television, where your health has a voice.
Welcome to the locker room, the home of football talk that matters. I am Jerry Apc'S. Join us every weekday, Monday to Friday at 5 p.m. Nigerian time, as we share the hot takes and hot debates in the exciting world of football. And joining me are the usual suspects, Ikechukwu and Mayowa, as we break down all the hot takes and everything that's happening in the football. Don't just watch football, live it with us. Catch us on the locker room and Voice of the People television at 5 p.m. Nigerian time. And like I always say, if not playing in the front, please the sport.
To know the happenings in the maritime sector, join us on the program Maritime Frontiers on VOP TV as we discuss key areas in the maritime sector, from aquaculture, maritime transportation, maritime labor regulation, oil and gas exploration, ferry and passenger insurance, marine pollution and prevention, port operations, and lots more. Maritime Frontiers, exploring Nigeria's blue economy. Do you want your voice to be heard? Do you know that you matter in the scheme of things? The People's Voice, the show where ordinary citizens take center stage as we discuss the biggest stories that affect you and I. With you in mind, we facilitate lively discussions, debates, and interviews on the topics that matter most to you and I, from social justice to economic empowerment, education to healthcare, governance, and more, tackling tough topics and amplifying your voice. Join the conversation and make your voice count. The People's Voice. Make your voice count.
In a world where power shifts with every headlines, news breaks and events happens, we bring you unbiased and explicit information on politics, economy, and state of the nation. We break down the chaos. Facts, not fluff. Truth, not spin. We discuss not just politics, but a glimpse into the future. Voice of the People television. Now you have more than a voice.
Nigerians, your voice matters, and in 2027 it starts with your permanent voter's card, your PVC. If you're 18 and above and you're a Nigerian citizen, you have the right to choose who leads your community, your state, and your country. But that right only counts if you have your PVC and your name is on the voter register. Here's what to do. First, check if you're registered. If you're not, or if you've moved, lost your card, or turned 18 since the last election, go to the nearest INEC office or an INEC registration center. Second, it's free. Don't pay anyone for any registration or collection. Third, collect your PVC early. Don't wait until the week before elections. INEC will announce dates. Listen to radio, TV, and follow INEC's official pages. Your PVC is more than plastic. It's your power to hold leaders accountable. It's how you decide on roads, schools, hospitals, and jobs for your community. When you vote, you decide the future of your children. Get registered. Get your PVC. Vote in 2027. For Nigeria to work, you must be a part of it. Your vote, your future, your responsibility.
This message is brought to you by Voice of the People, VOP Media.
If you've been drinking, don't drive. Hand over the keys to another driver. Call a friend or family member. Use a taxi or a ride-hailing service. Wait until you're completely sober before getting behind the wheel. A few minutes of inconvenience is far better than a lifetime of regret. Friends, don't stand by in silence. If someone who has been drinking insists on driving, speak up. Offer an alternative. Taking away their keys could save a life. Driving is our responsibility, not a right. Every time you take the wheel, you're responsible for the safety of everyone on the road. Today, make the choice that protects lives. Celebrate responsibly. Think before you drive. If you drink, don't drive. if you drive, don't drink, because every life matters and every safe journey begins with the right decision. This message is brought to you by Voice of the People Television.
Every day strike, ASU strike, market women strike, even Kole people they strike. We don't become country of strikers.
Even light self, they no fit give us. Don't run from motor. Even leg self, they get accident.
Why una dey complain? Why una dey complain? No una dey collect bribe, dey vote Sokoloko Bango ṣe.
Ìṣèjọba tó dára òun là ń béèrè.
Anyị chọrọ ọchịchị onye kwuru uche ya. Anyị achọrọzi ọchịchị nchigbu.
Ala ndeze temeka muna so mekio.
Wetin we want na make dem rule us well.
Don't take it for noise. It's the people's voice. They have made their choice. Respect that voice for all to rejoice. VOP 90.3, Voice of the People.
From the views on the street,
we go to bed empty hunger,
to the blaring horns of a hustling city, the loudest voices of the common man got a medium to be heard.
This particular administration, they were coming unprepared.
It's not a bad thing to renovate the president's lawn.
Through top-notch programming, unbiased reportage of news, sports, business, entertainment, and cultural documentaries, Voice of the People 90.3 FM became a symbol for 21st century media. And now, a new baby is born. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV, youthful, full of vigor and penchant for excellence in the continent's media space, exposing the wrongs, applauding the rights, dissecting the news without fear or favor, through factual and accurate stories and contents.
Corruption kills three things that makes a society.
Representing the interests of the people and giving them a voice. Voice of the People TV is here to stay towards building a fair society. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television, truly a voice for the people. When your morning starts, make sure to look around for the right company to serve you everything you need to know about what's happening around you. That's why you need VOP This Morning, because we will climb this far to give you a voice in what's going on, from news, reviews, politics and the economy, sports and even entertainment. VOP TV, now you have more than a voice. In a world where truth is the ultimate power and opinions scream the loudest, it's time to wade through the noise.
Hunger no get tribe. Hunger no get religion.
And scan the human interest and trending topics that matter. Stay tuned to The Issues, your plug to the stories making the buzz, from politics to science and technology, social justice, and more. Let's tackle the tough questions and expose the truth. The Issues on Voice of the People Television. Don't just react, understand.
In a world where power shifts with every headline.
In a nation full of questions.
In a world filled with noise, the truth needs a voice.
The policies that shapes our world and the economy that determines our future.
Every hour, every day, the grapevine keeps buzzing.
And together, we are committed to telling the stories that shape our world, because your voice is our focus.
Don't forget, our voice matters the most. Let us come together and share our concerns.
Good evening to you and welcome to another exciting episode of the Issues and Voice of the People Television. I will bring you the most important and pressing issues shaping our nation today. I'm your host, Nenna Ndomdioto. Today on the Issues, we're examining the complexities of Nigeria's politics and governance. Tonight, we'll begin with a calls for action against inflammatory statements by former Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Rabo, urging authorities to arrest those whose comments could threaten national peace. Also examine developments in respect to the Osun governorship election as fresh concerns over inflammatory rhetoric, alleged threat, and the possibility of violence ahead of the poll, with Amnesty International saying it would use the controversy surrounding Senator Fada Hunsi as an example in its campaign to name and shame those who promote electoral violence. In a related development, the political battle in Osun gets more personal as claims about Governor Demola Adeleke's administration, his public persona, and even his family connections become part of the campaign conversation. Finally, we look at the growing challenge of vandalism of public infrastructure as Minister of Works David Umahi vehemently condemns the destruction of road infrastructure. Join us as we break down the fact and provide context to help you stay informed. We'll take a short break, and when we return, we'll dig deeper into these topics. Don't go away.
Welcome to the locker room, the home of football talk that matters. I am Jerry Apc'S. Join us every weekday, Monday to Friday at 5 p.m. Nigerian time, as we share the hot takes and hot debates in the exciting world of football. And joining me are the usual suspects, Ikechukwu and Mayowa, as we break down all the hot takes and everything that's happening in the football. Don't just watch football, live it with us. Catch us on the locker room and Voice of the People television at 5 p.m. Nigerian time. And like I always say, if not 20 minutes off, please discuss.
And it's Hakim Ziyech who puts the
Big news is here. Your favorite Voice of the People television station is now on free to air on Nigecomsat. All you need to do is align your dish using the following: orbit position 40.5 degrees east, 12.685 gigahertz, 30,000 kilobytes per second. Polarized vertical, frequency 2, 12.731 gigahertz, symbol rate 26,250 kilobytes per second. Polarization H. This works on any decoder. Catch up to 100 channels, sports, movies, news, all for free. This is with better quality at no extra cost. VOP TV on Free TV. Now you have more than a voice.
Glad to have you back. It's still the Issues and Voice of the People television. Let's dive straight into today's discussion. Former Chief of Defense Staff General Lucky Irabo, retired, has called for the arrest of Islamic clerics Sani Jenge and Ahmed Gumi, and also Senator Fada Hunsi, over what he described as inciting comments capable of worsening the country's security situation. Reacting to recent comments by some political and religious leaders, the former military chief said individuals who make statements capable of inciting violence should be immediately subjected to investigation and, when necessary, arrested. Irabo said authorities must take firm action against inflammatory statements to discourage rhetoric that could undermine peace and security, adding that such measures would also boost the morale of the country's defense and security personnel. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by three distinguished guests, really, not two. Here in the studio, we have Mayor John Echefu. He is a political analyst. Glad to have you join us, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Also joining us virtually, we have Sunny Dada, a development professional and the chairman of the Civil Liberties Organization, River State. Glad to have you join us, Sunny.
Thank you for having me, Nina. Good evening.
Good evening. Also, we have joined us later on in the show. We have excellent Abdul Karim, who is also a political analyst. Glad to have you join us, Excellence.
Okay, while we wait for Excellence to... Excellence, you can unmute your device, please, and speak with us if you can hear me. Okay, while we sort out the audio from Excellence's end, let me come to you first, Mayor. I'm sure you've been following the statement by the Sheikh, the cleric, even this recent one by Father Hunsi, who seems to have, he has looked for a way to paint his words. He said it's been AI generated, and there was a part that was purported by AI. And on another hand, again, he said that some people who don't really understand Yoruba have actually misunderstood. He gave different reasons, but the bottom line is he has actually denied his statement. And here we see the former chief of defense staff saying or calling for arrest over inciting comments. What do you agree with him?
First of all, I would like to say a very big thank you to the Honorable, and also use this opportunity to let Nigerians know that we still have men who have good conscience in this country, who can see evil and call it evil face to face. You see, what is going on today, before this kind of people will come out to make such statements, who knows what they have been doing in secret? They said out of abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh. So that sheikh is a bad example of an Islamic leader and should be well punished for such unguided speech. Because he have shown, we keep people, Christians are suffering every day. Christians are being killed in the north. Christians are being molested. They are being dealt in a way that shouldn't be. But you see, people who call themselves, I don't know how he get to the stage of being a sheikh. I don't know. And it shows that this man have committed so many crimes against Christians in the north before now. So I really thank former chief of defense staff, that's Ayabo. He have shown what is called to be a real elderly statesman. At this particular time, the Nigerian need to be healed. And that is when this man is coming out to bring another. It shows that, I don't know what is wrong with some of these President Tinubu supporters. They will always, their actions and everything they are doing have not helped the country. He said that because he's supporting Muslim ticket. Father Osun said his son because he's a Yoruba man. So what is wrong with these people? They must be brought to book. They can't just ensure that they have been committing crime against Christians before now that nobody knows. For that sheikh to come out openly, what is he teaching in the mosque? All this while. These are the people who are secretly sponsoring insecurity in the north. And these are the men who are secretly sponsoring killings of Christians and destruction of churches in the north. His matter will not be swept under the carpet. So I'm using the opportunity to also talk to other meaningful Nigerians to raise their voice. I will also call on the international community to look into this matter and investigate this man, because I've committed a lot of crime against Christians before now. And I'm also calling on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to do something urgently, immediately. This man must be arrested and brought to book. He cannot continue to do the same thing every time. It's very, very bad. Very, very bad. So I thank Erabo for coming out at a time like this to speak out. It shows that he's an elderly statesman who is interested in the progress of Nigeria.
Okay, thank you very much, Mayor. Let me come to you, Sunny. When you look at the statement by Father Hunsi, and one would wonder if that kind of statement, that kind of inciting statement, we saw that the police called him for questioning, and then I think after 2 hours, they allowed him go. But we see someone like El Rufai, when you put side by side the statements both of them made, they are both inciting statements. But we see that one was questioned for 2 hours and let go, and the other one has been in prison for more than some months now. And you begin to wonder what should really determine whether someone who makes a controversial statement is investigated, arrested, prosecuted, or simply warned.
Good evening again, Inen, and I say good evening to your guests in the studio and to your listeners. Just to put it in proper context, Rufai's case borders on espionage. It borders directly on the presidency. So here I'm talking about not just the president, but the national security advisor, the NSA. To the extent that he alluded that the opposition is listening, to their conversations, thus saying or indicating that their phones are hacked and many other things. But Fadunsi's statement directly borders on the Osun state governorship election. And like I mentioned yesterday, we keep hearing or seeing these things because we're a country that does not show consequences for bad behavior. Because this is not the first time people are making extreme comments, in our electoral process. In the pre-election window, that's when you hear this type of extreme comments. The Rufa himself, that is incarcerated today, also made similar extreme comments, in time past, in 2023, where he even went, as far as, stopping the candidate of the Labour Party at then, His Excellency Peter Obi, from coming to Kaduna, from visiting Kaduna State, and where he also threatened the election observers that they will not return alive, that they will return in body bags. During the 2015 election, the current FCT minister serving in this administration also made similar comments in Port Harcourt. As a matter of fact, he directly threatened INEC officials. So either they threaten the EMB, that is the election management body, or they threaten the opposition, or they threaten election observers. They get away with these things, and there has not been any serious consequence. And that is why we have not even started campaigning, When the 2027 campaigns will start proper, be prepared that you hear more very, very extreme and insensitive comments that could plunge this country into serious anarchy. And that's because, like I told you yesterday, nothing will come out of that police invitation. And that's because the police itself is culpable as an institution. The police, according to them, they grilled him for 2 hours. Do you know what that means? Perhaps maybe they invited him, he went to the station, they asked him a few questions, and they told him, stay here till let it just waste more time, let it look like we're doing a serious work. And if you're not careful, he was entertained, because we have heard how, they receive high-profile visitors, even in prison, even in DSS cells. We have received several reports how they keep, these high-profile suspects, So they have released him 2 hours. What is the statement of the police? In Sena crimes, before even they release him, the police will come out and give updates on the matter. After releasing him, the police will give clarification, will tell us whether he needs to come back again, or whether they are taking it to the next level, or whether they are going to prosecute him after their preliminary findings. The police will issue statements, give updates. But did you hear anything? So that is to confirm what I told you yesterday, that Nigerians, we should not expect any, including the cleric that said that all infidels should be killed. Nothing will come out. We will only shout, and that's because Nigerians are too forgiving. We are too forgiving. Was it not Amechi, former Governor Rotimi Amechi of Rivers State, that said it? That politicians do a lot of things and get away with a lot of things in this country because we forgive them a lot. We are too forgetful. We will shout for 1 week and 2 weeks, and everywhere will become quiet. Perhaps the matter is still on the front burner now because the election is on this Saturday. After the election, nobody will talk about what's that his name? Nobody will talk about him again, and we'll sweep everything under the carpet. And when the real election window, what are we even saying? The Oba of Lagos, did he not say that the Igbos should be thrown into the lagoon? What are we saying? What came out of that? This thing? The chairman of NURTW, what's that his name? What did we not see multiple videos in the pre-election window towards the 2023 election where they openly threatened the Igbos, where they openly threatened to kill people, cause mayhem, and what came out of it? So we are just shouting. As long as the ruling party and the president benefits from such extreme comments, nothing will come out of it. And that is why, as Nigerians, we should now begin to look elsewhere. How can we hold these people accountable? How can we hold these people accountable? And that is why it is so unfortunate that we can now look at a country like US and begin to invite them to interfere in our domestic affairs, in our electoral process. Why? Because we have lost our confidence in the institutions that are supposed to hold these persons accountable. And it is even more shameful that the person that made this statement is a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So that tells you the kind of law, that explains why we have very poor quality of laws that they make in that institution, in that red chambers. You know, that these are some of the reasons that explains why the National Assembly is a very, very rigid rubber stamp of the presidency. When you have this kind of people, you know, representing you, what kind of laws, quality laws, do you expect them to make? You know, so the summary of the point I'm making is that this is now the time for statesmen to rise up. And that is why I'm happy that people like Erabo has heeded the call, as if he listened to our conversation yesterday and as if he listened to my plea, that this is now the time for statesmen to rise up. And that if the president and his vice are statesmen, this is the time for them to rise up and distance themselves. And if the APC is serious about convincing us that they are indeed a responsible party, this is also the time to issue an official rebuke to that cleric.
Okay, thank you very much. You know, while you were speaking, you made mention of the fact that Nigerians seem to be very, very forgiving. But let me come to, I don't know if Excellence is with us. Excellence, are you with us? Okay, let me come to you. Before I come back to you.
Good evening.
Oh, good evening, Excellence. Okay, let me come to you. I'm sure you listened while Sonny Dada was speaking. And one of the things he said was the fact that Nigerians are forgiven, are very forgiving. But is this really the case? Or is it the fact that, do you think it's the fact that Nigerians, maybe our hands are tied really, because we'll think that like he mentioned, people who are statesmen of the presidency, you know, the security agencies, the DSS should actually do the needful. Is that really the problem? Or do you also agree that Nigerians are really forgiving and that's why things like this get to fly over time without repercussions?
Yeah, thank you. Nigerians are not really forgiving. The issue is that when it comes to citizenship, Nigeria is not up to what it takes. Let's not deceive ourselves. And these are the reasons, these are the advantage our politicians are taking on Nigerians today, because they know whatever may happen, Nigeria shows I don't care. We only pray, we vow, we agitate for better Nigeria, but nobody is willing to go for better Nigeria. It is very shameful. There is a sitting senator. Although it shows how desperate these men are into this political business. Are you telling me somebody who is making such entrance in the public is after the masses or is after the progress of our people? This is a democracy, and another word are we saying? My own question is this: do we really believe Nigeria is right for this democracy idea we are talking about? Do we think throughout this democracy Nigeria will be okay? Because if we can recall since 1999 to date, let's just assess ourselves. This democracy, are we sure it will lead Nigeria to a promised land? Because these men call senator, the upper chamber, the lower chamber, the Federal House of Rep and the Senate are supposed to be the people who are to stabilize Nigeria leadership, the government, when it comes to their character. But fact them. You see how they turn themselves to tall boy to the executive. So with that, what are we expecting? All this noise, whatever we are saying, is just the matter trending right now. After 1 week, this thing will go down. Nothing will happen. And I will bet you the Osun election, we all know it. All of us are smelling it. Whatever the outcome will be, will know who they will announce as a winner. You will see come back, and I will say this to you. Nigerians themselves are, to me, at this point, I'm not blaming our leader anymore. No, I'm not blaming. This point, if we are over 200 million population, and the number of people who are turning Nigeria to a playground are not up to 300,000 people, then Nigerians are quiet, they are okay. Whatever may happen in this country, Nigeria are just okay with that situation. Look at what a former CBN governor did to the issue of currency or whatever. Look at the hardship that guy brought to Nigerians at then. Today, where is Emefiele? Can you tell me what is going on with Emefiele? We know what happened to former governor of Kogi State, Yaya Bello, where 800 and something million were paid ahead of the children that have not moved up to any school. What happened to Yaya Bello today? EFCC came out and vowed and said, if the Yaya Bello is not brought to book, he will. So, for me, Nigeria is just a joke country. All this thing we are saying, it's just like,
okay, we seem to be having network issues.
No, it's good. We must have a channel whereby we discuss. If you check it, yeah. Hello.
Yeah, go ahead. You can round off your thought. Yes,
yeah.
Round off on your thought.
Yeah. When you check it, you see that there's no regularity in Nigeria whereby if you have your way, you can commit any offense and go away with it. Even by the religion body, the Christians, the Muslim, whatever they call themselves, today, anybody who is in high rank of, they misuse power drunk people are much in this country.
Okay.
Today, to me, the process we are having electing leader can never give us good leader in this country.
Thank you.
Because from the ruling party and from another person, I will a little bit deviate for your question. Why I'm saying this because of the problem of Nigeria today is just, for me, I keep hitting it. Not until Nigerians are ready to make this country a great country. If they're hoping for our leader to make this country be okay, that is a pure lie. And that is why I will agree with ACC presidential candidate. I think Nigeria needs revolution now. That is the only situation. That is the only solution we can solve this country. Because we all know Nigeria is a forced marriage country, whereby tribalism, whatever have taken place, man, of people where some certain group of people can never allow to be president. There's some group of people seeing themselves superior over other. Is it the country we dream of? So if this should be the case, I think to me, revolution should start now. That should be the only solution that will solve it. Because Nigerian politicians have so much, they have so much in store, much wealth, money, resources to punish Nigeria. So they know when you organize 2 or 3 youth today to protest, if they see that protest is going to somewhere else, Nigeria leader will know how to get 1 or 2 youth, bribe them off and turn that protest against you. So today, for me, whatever anybody is saying today, all these senators, and I was very, very surprised because I recall when this senator under Buhari was one of the best senators was so vocal under Buhari, especially he was a custom DG general before. He was emphasizing on the issue of the way custom was busting Lagos and they cannot go to Kano or Kaduna. And the kind of leader we have in this country is too funny. It's too funny.
Okay, thank you for your response there. Let me come to you, Mayo. I heard you when you were nodding your head to what Excellence was saying. But I'm going to ask you while you respond to react to that. But let's look at it. Are we really dealing with the symptoms when you look at, statements such as this, or are we failing to address, the deeper political, economic, ethnic, and religious tensions that make such statements dangerous? Like he already said, he talked about the forced marriage and all of that, and how Nigeria seems not to be on the right foundation. But are those the bigger problems, or is it just on the face value, which is just a controversial statement?
When you look at these things, it will look small, but they are the core bigger issues. Thank God he said it right now. Nigeria was established in a forced marriage. And up till now, we have never gone back to think, this forced marriage, how can we do? What should we do to make it work? You see, look at the problem Nigerians are having. The main problem we are facing is tribalism and religion.
Yeah.
Look at a senator of Federal Republic of Nigeria. The type of statement he was making. That is to tell you the kind of people that make our electoral law. Someone has said the other time that President Buhari wanted to sign real electoral law into law. Somebody told him not to. It shows that these people don't want Nigeria to move forward. They are just want to grab power and they grab whatever that they see and they mess up the system. Today, you see what is happening between political parties primaries. We have people who win primary and the leadership of the parties will subject them to so many things. Use it to be collecting money from other people who did not win the primary. The day Nigeria will get it right and will have free and fair election, that day we will reduce bad leadership from 85%. Because some of these leaders, some of the if I go see or what causes them, knows that fair and fair election can take him out of that Senate position. He cannot come out and make such a statement. The other say it is here, talking about Muslim ticket, talking about, you see that these people, they don't care. They don't care. And listen, I have said it before. If Nigeria did not kill corruption, corruption will kill Nigeria. Because the senators, they have turned themselves to lawyer boys to the president. To the extent that they are singing on your mandate, we shall stand in the Senate. Is it not disgraceful? What are we learning from other European countries? They will see them, they go vacation here, go vacation here. Come back, they become worse. Goodluck was a president in this country. Abachaga was a president in this country. We see how the Senate functioned during their tenure. Now we have seen the worst politicians who have turned our senators to Hallelujah boys and House of Rep members to Hallelujah boys. And when they collect those money from Senate, they will use it to go to their political parties. When they did not win primary, they use the money and they force themselves to the INEC and the leadership of the party to have their ticket and have their way. Today, parties cannot have free and fair election. Other political parties cannot even give us free and fair election. Even the people that won the election, they will change their names and they say this is supreme leader, this is national champ. They keep changing people's name up to this moment. And people who won the election primary, people who are popular, that their people have voted into power to go and represent them, that will do well. Maybe they don't have 100 million, 70 million, 50 million to give to party chairman, to give to this, to give to that. They will deny them their tickets. And the same thing will keep happening in the Senate and not continue to happen in this House of Reps. Because you see, Akpabio has become the worst Senate president ever in the history of Nigeria. This particular Senate we are seeing today is the worst Senate ever we have seen in it. We have not seen any issue. That the president want to borrow, they don't even know what they are borrowing for. It shows that this country has a long way to go. And I'm talking to my fellow youth, the upcoming politics. We should do something. We cannot continue like this and expect a different result. If we continue like this, our pregnant women will keep dying in the hospitals. Corruption will continue. We must stand up and say, now is now. We must stop this corruption now. And that's one thing I also like to say concerning the revolution. Even if we have revolution and we did not look at the foundation, the same thing we repeat again. We need to visit the foundation so that Nigeria will not continue this way. I said it yesterday on Lens that if Nigeria is a country that has real rule of law, like China, after the tenure of some of these governors, 70% of them, they will hang them. Because they cannot give account of the money that they have collected to you. They are just embezzling money, No governor, I tell you, 70% of the governors in Nigeria today cannot give account of their security votes. So who are they deceiving? From the presidency down to the councillor. Corruption everywhere. It's quite appalling. Let men of goodwill. I thank God for what the elder statesmen in Rabo have come out to say, let other statesmen, let other people who have goodwill, who have conscience, to come up and speak up. The time is now. If you don't save Nigeria now, there's no time again. 2027 election will define Nigeria. Just because of Osun, governorship election. That is, if I tell the level of killings going on there, you will shout. And they know the people doing these things. Because they want to take power from Adeleke. It's very bad. It's very bad. If you believe that you are popular, come to the polling booth. Let your people vote for you based on what you have done before. If Adeleke has not done well, or some people will not vote for him. But I believe the man have done so well in Osun State. The only thing they are campaigning against him is a dancer. Yes, I support him. He must give himself joy. Let his enemies hug Trafama.
Okay. Thank you very much. We'll get to that Osun in a bit. But before we move on, let me come to you, Sani Dada. You mentioned a little bit about this while you were speaking, but let me ask you in a broader sense, what responsibility should political parties take when their members make statements capable of escalating violence? Because many times these people are members of a political party, and it looks like the political party just folds their hands and allow the statements slide.
I don't I don't want us to deceive ourselves. I want us to be real here. We do not have political parties that are capable of controlling members. And that's because we do not have political parties that are entrenched in ideologies. When a political party is entrenched in ideology, that political party will be strong. But when a political party lacks ideology, the best you have in such political parties are strong men, people who are stronger than the political parties, which is to say that even the officials of the political parties are errand boys to these politicians. So, for instance, excuse me, what would you expect to call Fadonsi and ask him to shut up that he's talking nonsense? Is it the Osun State APC chairman who is an errand boy, who is a PA to former Governor Oyetola? Is he that one that will challenge him and tell him that you said rubbish, you go and retract what you said? So political parties, we do not even have political parties. They are only called political parties in name, but in actual practice they are only vehicles that convey politicians to elected offices. And that is why the moment the man becomes a senator, he becomes a governor or a president, he does not rate the political party anymore. So all the party officials become errand boys, visiting, going, even apply to even visit him in his office to beg for arms, So we do not have political parties, and that is why they cannot hold these people to account for their actions or their inactions. Unlike in the US, where you have the Democratic Party, you have the Republican Party, parties that are rooted in ideologies, and if they say this particular politician will not come back, and he's not going to come back, but that's not the case here. So, and that is why I said our democracy is still evolving. We're not there yet, but my annoyance is that we're too slow. We're too slow. And that is why well-meaning individuals, leaders of thought, should not begin to see politics as a serious business that should not be left in the hands of charlatans that we have seen today. And the mistake we made was in 1999 when we chased out the military and we thought that, we had concluded, we had won the battle, our work was done. And so we left the scene and we did not bother to entrench ourselves in the political parties and build the kind of ideology that we preached against the military. And we left the political parties, in the hands of, thieves, charlatans, people that, or illiterate, uneducated people, as we have seen today, who have now taken over the soul of our electoral process and are now entrenching themselves and giving birth to their kinds, while they're in office, they prepare the ground for their children. They send their children abroad to study, and just as they are leaving office, their children have finished their study, they have returned to take over from where their fathers stopped. So we are, after serving the parents, we are preparing to serve the children and their great-grandchildren and all of that. So and that is why I'm using the opportunity to call on citizens to now begin to do what I call self-organize. Don't wait for any APC or PDP or what do they call NDC and any party to help you to bring sanity to the country. No, we need to now self-organize to ask ourselves, what do we really want? Are we going to come together as citizens and form our own political party? Because by the law, by the rules of the land, for you to become anything, you have to join a political party. So as citizens, can't we come together, self-organize, and also form our own political party, and become a formidable third force against these people? And don't be deceived. Whether we are talking about APC or PDP or NDC, they are all the same people. They are all the same people. Show me a politician in ADC that was not in PDP before, or that was not in APC before. Show me a politician in NDC that was not in PDP or in APC. So they are all the same. They just, move around, look for vehicles. And that is why we are not supposed to call them political parties. They are vehicles. They are vehicles. So to answer your question straight, they do not have the foundation or the structure to hold their members accountable. That is just the truth. Otherwise, in Senate claims, this senator would have been suspended by his political party.
Thank you. They do not have the capability of holding their politicians or those who have been elected or elected as officials under them, and they cannot hold them to account. That's what you're saying. But let's move on to to matters of development in the Osun election. The rhetoric ahead of the Osun governorship election is becoming increasingly heated. Amnesty International says it will use Senator Francis Fadahunsi as an example in its campaign to expose individuals it considers advocates of electoral violence. This follows controversy over a viral video allegedly showing the senator making comments interpreted by opponents as threatening violence against members of the Accord Party. Fadahunsi has denied inciting violence, while the police have invited him for questioning. Meanwhile, the Accord Party has written to the European Union seeking intervention to help guarantee what it describes as a free, fair and peaceful election. Also, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has warned against the militarization of the election, arguing that the deployment and conduct of security personnel must not undermine the freedom of voters. Let me come to you first, Excellence. Amnesty International, still on the issue of Fadahunsi, says it intends to use the Fadahunsi's case as an example and name and shame advocates of election violence. What do you make of this, really?
It's a laughing matter. Let's wait and see what the amnesty will do, because this is a country where everybody wants to make headline. If I should respond further, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar is part of the process we are in this country today. So whatever is happening today against his party or whatever, I think people like him should keep their mouth shut in the society. Because if they laid a better foundation when himself and Obasanjo was there, today we will not be in this state of this level we are today. We remember what former INEC President Maurice Iwu did, where election result will be like, I recall then when Edo election result, when they declared Professor Salami Osubo as the winner of then we know where this result were composed, not even in Benin City or in Edo State. So today, like whatever the amnesty program, whatever they are saying or shouting, to me in Benin there's something we call a mababa, children's play, where children will say they are building house, whatever. I see it as a child play. So when they are ready, if they hold Senator Fashion Abiwa his name, so if they can hold him and brought him to the book, I think by then we can debate better or assess their own a vow to as example they claim they want to make him to be. But Nigeria today is concerned, to me, we are still far from the system. Nigerians should wake up. In that video, when this man was making that statement, you will see where youth were saying, hey, Akare Baba, like Yes, this is what we are waiting for. You understand? Are they not Nigerians? So if our leaders are not taking the right step, must we follow our leader foolishly or blindly? This is the issue. If Nigeria wants to be okay, Nigeria should wake up. Nigeria should wake up. All this issue, all this story we are talking about, by next week, to be another topic again.
Okay.
And this is how we'll drag it. But in one word, for me, I want to use this medium to say this out. Not until Nigeria is reconstructed before we can get it right. When President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was coming and said renew hope, renew mandate, I was like, okay, I want to hear the first thing. Let's change a Nigeria constitution. With that constitution, there will never be any peace in this country. With that constitution, there will never be law in this country, law abiding in this country. In that constitution, stability can never be in this country. We recall where somebody was saying something back 2015. He said, Nigeria is a playground, not until Nigeria constitution is changed. For me, in a simple words, we like it or not, Osun will come back and hear report. We just got some flashing news where they say some people have been arrested as a fake police, whatever. Today, this is the story we keep hearing. This is the same system. This is because the system, people have already abided to it. People have accepted that this country can never be okay. So whichever way that our youth wants to evolve themselves, make their money, they will. But I want to use this medium. I want to deviate from your question.
Please, so we don't, because of time, I need to get to other guests. So I might need to, yes, thank you. Thank you very much. I'll come back to you. Mayor, one of the things that Atiku Abubakar pointed out, he has warned against the militarization of the election. And oftentimes we see that whenever we have elections, we see how security agencies flood those states or those areas. Could excessive security intervention become, a threat to democracy if voters begin to, associate election day with fear, arrest, and confrontation?
It's quite unfortunate that this is where APC is taking us.
But it's not really about APC. It has always been like that. Don't you think so?
APC leadership of the national, this is where they are taking us. This is, when you talk about federal government, led by APC. APC is the party that brought President Tinubu.
Okay, but what? Sorry. So
listen, all they want to do, they want to use military to scare away Accord Party voters. And that is not a good thing for a great democratic settings. It's not good. The only thing that Amnesty International, they should be involved in this election on Saturday. Other observers groups, international observers groups, should be really involved. And I'm also urging our youths to also be involved. Involved with your camera. See, if all those security personnel that are committing crimes against Nigerian citizens, if they got their camera, got their name, let the world know. Not calling them security personnel. They will go stop. But let us know those people by their name. Video them. If you are afraid, hide somewhere. Also, state governor should do something. Fix cameras almost everywhere. To make sure that every polling booth at least have like 2 or 3 cameras as surveillance. At least to monitor whatever that is going on with it. Because if they did not do these things, APC, their target is to rig Osun State election. But I tell you, it will not happen. Because I know that Osun youths are ready. And other meaningful citizens of Osun State, they are ready. And I tell you, let me be the first man to congratulate the governor. He will win the election.
Okay,
the challenges will come and go. Okay, because listen, let me tell you something. From the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, APC have failed Nigerians. And no state that APC will have their candidate in Nigeria and that election will be conducted free and fair that APC will win. That is the truth. There's no foul play about it. They have not done well. Look at the economy. Look at the security. Look at, there's nothing we have not seen in this country of recent. I tell you, NSC should be serious about what they're saying. We want to see results. Let them show all results. They should deal with this fagosi of a man so that others will learn from him.
Okay.
Because I've seen that what will solve Nigerian problem is taking cases of this nature beyond Nigeria.
Well, really, when you talk about that, I think I'm going to let you speak, Sunny Dada, because I was going to ask you something about the militarization that the warning article has but I want to ask you in line with his last statement, because also Accord has sought international intervention, and Mayor here is saying that what would help us is really taking things beyond the shores of Nigeria. Is that where we have come to really? What does this say about public confidence in domestic institutions when any little thing we begin to talk about the foreign the international community coming to help us, coming to take charge? What does this speak about our confidence basically in our institutions?
We do not, to answer your question straight, we do not have a functional institution currently as a country. Is it the judiciary? Ordinarily, when things like this happen, you can say, okay, at the end of the day, I'm going to challenge a process in court. But the man you want to take to court is already telling you to go to court. So why is he the one suggesting to you that you should go to court? And that's because he knows that institution is compromised. You can't get any results there. Is it the police that is culpable in this matter, that has shamefully, shown that they are partisan? Tell me which institution in this country is working? And that is why you see Nigerians, even when it has to do with the husband and wife issue, they want to bring in Donald Trump. They want to bring in the West and all of that, because our institutions have failed us. But quickly, talking about the militarization that Atiku is talking about, sometimes I laugh, and that is why I say Nigerians, we also forget too easily who introduced do or die politics into our electoral process in Nigeria. Is it not the administration of Obasanjo and Atiku? Obasanjo was president, Atiku was his vice president. Is it a selective amnesia that is disturbing us or what? In fact, the harvest we're having today, the seeds of this harvest were sown, planted by the PDP, led by Obasanjo and this same Atiku, who is now the ADC candidate. They're only serving him the food that he cooked. They're only serving him from his farm. So he's talking about militarization of the electoral process and all of that. In his time, see, let's not, are we children? We know how PDP militarized the electoral process from 2003. In fact, under the PDP, we recorded the worst electoral process in this country by Morisi Wu, 2007, to the extent that the winner of that process admitted and said that he was going to reform the electoral process. Some of the things that we saw Jonathan did, that even eventually led to his own loss. So I think he should not come out. We are not children. He shouldn't come and then Adeleke, the Accord Party inviting the EU.
We're out of time already, Sunny.
Out of time, but let me quickly say this. Adeleke is inviting the EU because he knows the investment the EU is making in our electoral process. But even at that, I don't see anything that will come out of it, because the West has consistently interfered with our electoral process, and at the end of that is why the loss of Goodluck Jonathan can be attributed to the interference of the West in our electoral process. So inviting them to intervene and all of that is to even make matters worse.
Okay.
Nothing will happen. Maybe inviting them on the premise on the fact that he knows that they are making serious investment in our electoral process.
We have to go. Thank you. We have to go. I know I could allow you gentlemen to go on and on. Excellent. Sunny and of course Mayor. Thank you very much. Thank you all for your for your analysis. Thank you so much, and for joining us and being a part of the issues tonight. That's all we have for today's episode of The Issues. Explored the challenges facing Nigeria's politics and governance. Thank you for being a part of it. Don't forget to tune in next time for more in-depth analysis and discussion. Follow us on social media to stay up to date on the latest news and insight. Until next time, stay informed. I am Nenna Ndomdieto. This has been the Issues on Voice of the People television, where the future faces forward. Please don't forget to stay tuned for hashtag with Vivian by 8 p.m. Don't go away.
VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
Behind every broken desk lies a broken promise. Education shapes the nations. But who is asking the right questions? Introducing